Back to your normally scheduled programming. We're here in the space, and we hope you enjoyed Aaron Lazar's episode. And now we're here. It's 2026, and because we've almost been doing the podcast for a year. It hasn't quite been a year yet, but we decided to get a big ol' upgrade. Introducing. Zoom in on this. Cue the theme song. Bum, bum. I wanna be like you. Bum, bum. I wanna be like you. Cheers. Clink. We have mugs now. They're available for purchase nowhere. So, if you notice don't get me wrong, this episode is about the guest, it's not about the mug, but how cool is this? And I want to thank Eric Kaiser, my girlfriend Kirsten's brother, for getting me this as a Christmas gift to make me one step closer to my goal of being Jimmy Fallon. So, anyway, if you see this, it's the new star of the show. But our star guest today is, what a segue. Our star guest today is AJ Shively. All right. So, you know AJ, and it's funny, we get down to all the deep questions with AJ. Like, what does AJ stand for? I'm sure you've always wondered that. That answer is revealed in the pod. So let's talk about AJ Shively's career. So AJ Shively made his Broadway debut in Cage Aux Folles in 2009 or 2010, and he also originated a beloved show that I feel like a lot of regionals, and I know that my alma mater, Wagner College, is doing right now, in Bright Star. He originated Bright Star, and he sings the song, Bright Star, keep shining for me. That was my audition for all those regional theaters that are doing Bright Star. Then he also did recently Paradise Square, which got him a Tony Award nomination for featured actor in a musical 2022, as well as A Man of No Importance with Jim Parsons, a classic stage company, Titanic at New York City Center, Encores. I mean, like, his career has been incredible, but what I really appreciated about AJ was that we also got to talking about some really cool, nerdy stuff, because he got to spend some time in London doing, studying at RADA, which is the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, and he talks about Shakespeare and how similar it is to musicals and just the art of acting and the career in general, which I think is really fascinating and interesting. And he brings up a lot of really interesting points. So I was really, really lucky to have him here. I've been a big fan of his, so it was really exciting to get him in the room. I think you're really going to get a huge kick out of this episode, because there's a lot to take away here, and his career is interesting, and all of his anecdotes and some takes on the business and career as an actor, but also the brain work, the head and heart difference as an actor, and the different methods of being an actor, which he's very knowledgeable about. I think that was one of my biggest takeaways from the episode. And I really appreciated him being here. So without further ado, let's chat with AJ Shively. AJ Shively's I Want to Be Like You.
I wanna be like you. I wanna be like you. I wanna be like you. I wanna be like you, you.
Welcome to another episode of I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes. Welcome, AJ Shively.
Hello.
AJ, thanks for joining us. Thanks for
you.
being here. So we met at this pretty cool thing, because you were doing what they call the K Musical Roadshow, which was so cool. It was essentially a presentation for 3 different Korean musicals that were being presented to producers and investors here in the city, and a bunch of other people too, just getting a sense of it, getting some traction. And you were in one of those shows. What was the name of the show again?
It was called Rimbaud.
Rimbaud,
It was about the French poet Rimbaud. And like K-pop, K-musicals is the Korean government supports they have a whole cultural wing of the government that gets Korean culture out there. And with the success of Maybe Happy Ending, they're bringing more musicals that have had successful runs in Seoul, in South Korea, to international markets. And I can't remember what it's called, but they have a show on the West End right now that was part of the K-musical roadshow.
And they were pretty good. All 3 of those shows were
they were so good, and they were so different.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was wild. So my show, it was only 3 people, about French poets. it was like basically me and Taylor Trench playing pretend, playing make believe like we were little boys together. And
you were both great.
Yeah,
You
it
were
was so
both
much
great.
fun. But the other shows, there was this show about Salvador Dali,
Yes.
and his
That one was so
muse
funky.
wife,
Yeah.
and it was like the whole show was surreal. So it's the kind of thing where like house lights don't go down. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was so
And
cool.
it was
And then there was a
immersive.
traditional, beautiful like
Time
memory
travel.
musical, time travel.
It was kind of like giving like Time Traveler's Wife a little
Absolutely,
bit, a little
absolutely.
bit, just in essence. And yeah, all three of the shows were great. But that's where we met and we connected. And I'm so happy that we did, because the second I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, I saw you in Paradise Square, and I missed Man of No Importance. I really wanted to catch that one. And of course, I know you from Bright Star because you know all the things. So I'm excited to get the chance to chat with you. And we start the podcast with the same question every time, which is, who was your I Want to Be Like You when you were a kid?
The first Broadway show. Well, I have a few, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But the first Broadway show I ever saw was Ragtime,
Oh.
and my first I Want to Be Like You was Brian Stokes Mitchell.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
And I have to say, the first TV show gig I ever got was a little like 2 lines maybe on The Blacklist. Do you remember that show?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And my role was to be Brian Stokes Mitchell's assistant. So I was literally hired for my first TV job to just like stand next to him and follow him around all day and like watch him do his thing.
My gosh.
And I played it so cool all day, and he like sat and had lunch with me, and he was like, "Do you want to run your lines?" And I was like, my line was literally like, "Someone's here to see you, sir." I was like, "I got it."
That's funny.
But like at the end of the day, I rapped before he did, obviously, because he had a lot more to do. And I wrote the nerdiest fanboy, like, "You're the first play I ever saw on Broadway." And like, I just look at it's been an amazing day.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
I saw him more than a year later, crossing paths at 54 Below. He was in the like 7:30 show. I was in the 9:30 show.
Sure.
So, you know, you cross in the green room.
Right.
He remembered me, and he was like, "How you doing?" And,
Oh, man,
and
that's
just
so
like, and
cool.
like, it's so since, you know, we've actually gotten to know each other, but it's just like,
that's awesome.
I still can't believe it.
I've heard he's the sweetest.
Yeah,
ever.
every
met
time I
on the
see him,
train
I'm like,
once.
"Oh my God."
Yeah, he's the coolest. I didn't know that he was in the Blacklist. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He it's so funny. So when I was because it feels like everybody has had that. He's been that for everybody, like this like emblem, especially for a lot of boys in musical theater.
Right, yeah.
Because so when I was a kid, our children's theater director, Rosemary Callahan, she was like, you have to look into Brian Stokes Mitchell. She's like, I feel like you'd really resonate with a lot of his stuff, and I feel like you should look into some of the material that he's sung, because you should probably sing some of that. And I didn't know he was. And then me and my mom were looking, and my mom was like, oh, he's Hillary's boyfriend from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like he's got like as substantial as his theater work and legendary as his theater work is, he's like equally
I know.
well-versed,
It's so
like,
funny
on camera too. And
Yeah,
it's just like
so
I
funny.
Just look up to him in every way.
Yeah. Was
Brian, if you're listening, I'm embarrassed.
right.
Stokes.
So yeah, I met him on the train once, like
Yeah,
in passing,
yeah.
which is so funny, and I made sure to say hi to him because I was just like, I adore you. But was Ragtime your first Broadway show?
That was the first one I saw. Yeah.
How old were you?
I was. God, how old was I? I think it was in like 1997, so I would have been like 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
What brought you to see Ragtime?
My mom's sister lives in the city, and
Oh,
so we would
okay.
come and visit her.
Nice.
And Ragtime did Wheels of a Dream with Stokes and Audra on Rosie O'Donnell's talk show.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I want to see that. And my
Yeah.
mom was like, yeah, I want to see that too. And
Yeah.
so we went.
Yeah.
And that was the one.
Have you
I had
seen-
seen all the I had seen lots of national tours and
Sure.
that kind of stuff, but
Sure.
it was the first show I saw on Broadway.
Have you seen the new one? The one at
I haven't seen it at Lincoln Center
It's
yet. No.
So it's so funny.
I've been out of town,
I honestly I didn't know Ragtime. I went into, which is crazy. I know it's like sacrilege, but I knew Wheels of a Dream. I knew like little
Make
things.
them hear you.
Yes,
Daddy's
yes.
son. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Like I just made a video about it because I was like, it was my favorite theater piece I saw all of 2025, and it was like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it's just perfect. It's perfect on paper.
It's
Well, and Flaherty and
unbelievable.
Aaron's like two more of like the best people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that score is unbelievable. I had the insane privilege of doing a concert
version, right?
with
Yeah.
Boston Pops a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And younger brother was always the role that got away.
Yeah.
With the previous revival, I
What was that, 2009 or
it was
something? Right?
something like 2009, 2010. I auditioned for,
Oh.
and they had already cast younger brother. Bobby
Okay.
Steggert was already cast, and I went in and I was like, they were like, you're great, but the understudy has to also play one of the scary firemen. And I was like, I don't do that. Like,
Sure.
I don't do that now. Imagine me in my like early 20s. Like I was like literally repped by like children agents still because I look so young.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny though. That's funny.
Yeah.
So you're from Ohio.
Ohio. I grew
right?
up in Ohio. Yeah.
What city in Ohio?
Dublin, outside of Columbus.
Ohio.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny because you're also Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm of Irish heritage. Yes.
Is your family from Dublin, Ireland?
No, they're from the other coast.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, from Galway.
I have this really silly question. So we have this cousin, and he's a little cousin of ours, and his name is also AJ, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the reason why his name is AJ is because his dad's name is Arturo, and his full name is Arturo Jr., right? Or Arturo Jr., that's what we call him, right?
Yeah.
And so he's AJ.
Yeah.
And that's the origins of his AJ. What are the origins of your AJ?
Arthur.
Oh, no way!
Arthur Jonathan, my two grandfathers.
Wow.
So I'm the fifth Arthur Shively in a row, but we all have different middle names.
Whoa.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
fifth?
the
So your
fifth.
dad is also...
My dad's Arthur Clinton.
Wow.
He's little Artie.
He's not AC.
He's not AC. He's little Artie. I was like, missed that one. And Grandpa Art.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Wow, that's sick. If you have kids, would you want to name your kid?
No, I always said 5 is a good time to stop.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And as I get older, at first it was just embarrassing at school because they would say Arthur and all the kids would laugh, and it's like I go by AJ, and like
Yeah.
that was always embarrassing the first day. It
Yeah.
made me very shy.
Right.
But now it's just like my name has always been AJ. Like
Sure.
before I was born.
Yeah.
It's not like I picked it. It's just
Right.
like that's just what I've been called. I'm sure
Oh,
you're
yeah.
AJ as well. It's like
yeah. Everyone just calls him
it's
AJ.
always been AJ.
Yeah.
But my legal name is Arthur, and so it just makes any kind of paperwork so annoying, especially with health insurance through the union, because my union name is AJ, not Arthur. And so like the union gives you health insurance, and so that's all AJ, but my legal name's Arthur, so doctors' offices don't understand. And especially because my AJ has punctuation, I'm A.J.
Oh.
And like-
right. Of course, because it's because it's abbreviated. Yeah.
And so like some computers can't handle punctuation in your name, which is like a very niche
That's
problem
such
to
a weird
have.
thing,
That
yeah.
like there are a few of us, like Devon Moody, who was in Man of No Importance
Yeah.
with me and is now doing Buena Vista Social Club. He
Okay.
has an apostrophe in his name,
Oh, boy.
and it's like and so
Yeah.
you end up having like all these different accounts because like some have periods, some don't. Like,
Oh my gosh.
it's a real pain in the
That's
butt.
funny.
So.
The one. I mean, having the name Elbi doesn't bring many issues.
No, and there aren't many like you. I was thought from my first day of 6th grade, I was like, I'm gonna be John. And by the time my name, so Shively starts with an S, it's pretty low in roll call.
Yeah.
By the time they got to me, there were already 4 Johns, and I was like, "Ah, damn it, I'm still
Gonna
AJ.
pass on this one. Yeah.
Still AJ.
No, but I was totally joking. LB actually does bring many problems, and I say that
Really?
because because so hey, I'm buying tickets to a show. Say, what's your name? It's Elbi, ELBI. So then I get the thing, and it'll be Lebelby because they put LBELBI, like literally. So it's been more times than I'm like, how did they get Lebelby? And it's like, oh well, because
That's
they
really
wrote
funny.
LBELBI.
So I guess initial homonyms give a similar issue.
Yeah. Yes, right. Exactly that. Anyway, so sorry, those little tangent.
That's good. Well, I also respond whenever I hear "hey." I'm
Yeah.
like, that's my name.
Yeah.
People are like, "Hey," just random people. I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
ready to go."
Yeah, that's funny. So did you grow up doing theater? Were you a theater kid?
Yeah, I mean, my mom put me. I was very, very shy as a little guy, and my mom put me in this daycare where we would read a book and then act it out to try
cool.
and like convince me to talk to people that weren't my family, and it worked. And so I also had amazing patrons of the arts in my family. Like my grandparents took me to see all the national tours that came through Columbus, and I loved stories and music and everything like that. I didn't realize I could do it until I was like around 10. I saw the national tour of Big.
Oh, cool.
And there were like a ton of kids,
Yeah.
like close to my age.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? And so I did my first show at the Columbus Children's Theater when I was 10.
Yeah.
I played Charlie Bucket and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, sweet.
And I never stopped.
Yeah.
I just never stopped.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. What was I going to ask in regards to this? Oh, with your mom's sister, did you come to the city often? or-
Yeah. And so even before the acting stuff, I knew I loved New York. And like, just that was where grown-ups went. Like, it was
Yeah.
just like New York was always
Yeah.
the destination, even before I had
How far
the
is
arts.
it? It's like 5 hours. Right?
The
Driving?
drive is like 8.
Okay.
But like an hour and a half flight.
Okay, gotcha. We've done the drive once to Ohio.
Yeah.
To Cedar Point.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My childhood.
Is it really?
Cedar Point's the best.
How close to Cedar Point?
Cedar Point's like an hour and a half.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, maybe
It was,
2
like,
hours. Yeah.
Awesome.
Excuse
Yeah,
me. Yeah,
but yeah,
Columbus
no-
is right in the middle, so everywhere in
Okay.
Ohio is about 2 hours.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha,
Within
gotcha,
2
gotcha.
hours,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've always wanted to go. We wanted to go to Columbus. We've been
It's
interested.
cool. It's cool. I always say, it's funny. I was at the movies last night with people who moved here from Michigan, and we were like, the Midwest is a great place to move away from because it's like awesome, and then 10 years later, you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I've
sure,
done
sure.
everything.
Oh, sure.
But it was such a good place to grow up, and I was really lucky to have Columbus be so close because the university there. We got all the concerts came through, all the tours
right.
came
Oh,
through.
so
It was
cool.
just,
That's awesome.
it was
That's
a
awesome.
great place to grow up.
So, did you go through the college audition circuit? That was like auditioning for all
did,
these?
but I was such a dum-dum that I really lucked out. So my high school didn't have a lot of actors go through it, we'll say. And my guidance counselor, like, it was not on the radar.
Yeah.
And my mom and I found a book in the library from like 1995 about theater programs.
Uh-huh.
And so I like used this book. I was just so dumb. I didn't know about like Broadway Theater Project or French
sure.
Woods or any of
Oh,
these
yeah.
theater
I mean, I didn't
camps or
either,
any
yeah.
of that stuff.
No, I had no idea about that. I mean, that's-
And so I had this list of schools from that, and then there's a guy named Stanley Bohoric who is from 2 towns over in Ohio, and he did shows at Columbus Children's Theater, and he went to the University of Michigan for musical theater. Completely not on my radar at all. He was someone that I looked up to,
Yeah.
and so like just applied because it was like a good academic school, and I wasn't necessarily sure if I wanted to do acting or not. And so I was like, oh, I could double major. I got in, and I visited the campus, and the student body, like everyone was incredible, and
Yeah.
I was just blown away. And I had no idea how competitive it was.
Crazy.
But like, I knew about CCM because I was in Ohio, but they
Right.
still had cuts, and I was too afraid, so I
Okay,
didn't.
sure.
I didn't apply at CCM. I
Sure.
didn't know Carnegie Mellon had acting.
Oh,
I
sure,
had
sure.
no idea what I was doing. I had found. I thought I was all set on going to Juilliard, and I didn't get into Juilliard. I almost,
you now.
Look at me now. Yeah, but I almost went to North Carolina School of the Arts, which is. Like half the faculty of the original faculty of Juilliard kind of split away and
is that
started
right?
North Carolina
Wow.
School of the Arts. And I loved that school too, but Michigan was closer to home
Yeah.
and had the more strenuous academic side of things.
Mm.
And it was completely the right choice for me because I needed
Right.
that half of the curriculum to be not about theater at
Oh,
all.
interesting.
It's kind of how I've maintained my sanity in my career throughout, is like having other stuff to be interested in.
Really?
And the student body they attracted, at least my class, we were all such nerds, and it was great.
That's awesome.
I don't know, breaking into the School of Music late at night to like sit around and improv musical theater on the piano. Just the nerdiest kids you can
That's
imagine.
awesome.
Like,
though. And for what it's worth,
Yeah.
it's like you're not selling the school enough because I'm like UMich is like a huge.
I know. I had
huge
no
theater
idea.
school.
I had no idea.
It's like I think that when I'm like, what school did you go to? And you're UMich, and you're like, oh wow. It has that
if I had
reputation.
known, I would have been too nervous and I wouldn't have gotten in. I would have
Well, that's a
blown
good
my
thing you
audition.
did it now.
Yeah.
But it already had that reputation when you were there, right?
Yeah. So I went I'd say. I was around the time of Pascal and Paul were the year ahead of me.
Wow.
And so it was like got really big while I was there. But the classes, I had heard about it, or when I was applying, one of the things that made me decide to go there, I believe my senior year was the year of Urinetown and Millie, Thoroughly Modern Millie. And so you had Gavin Creel and Hunter Foster and Jen Laura Thompson
Wow.
were all graduates.
Wow.
And
And they were all on Broadway.
And they were all on
Huge
Broadway. And I had
shows.
seen, and those were the 2 shows I saw because my family would come to New York and we'd see
wow.
a couple shows. And,
Sure.
And I was like, whoa, they all went to this place.
Yeah.
And they have science class. Like,
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. So it was just a total, like right place, right time.
Yeah.
I was very, very lucky.
How fitting.
Yeah, and it fit me so well.
What shows did you get to do in college?
I did. Well, I was always in the play or the weird show. So like my big role, you get a big role at school, was in a Japanese play called Tomodachi, which means friends.
Oh.
And it was the story of one day the play opens and it's a man at his home and there's a knock on his door and this group of like 7 weird strangers comes in, and throughout the process of a play, they kind of take over his life. They get hit. They prevent him from going to work, so he gets fired, and they get his fiance to break up with him.
Oh,
and
interesting.
By the end of the play, they're like, join the family, and he won't, so they kill him.
Oh my god.
Right. So like again, I had a very weird time. I went to drama school at Michigan. But it's incredible, and it's like one of the first examples of modern Japanese playwriting, and it's like beautiful. How many horror plays are there? Like
it was a new play?
That was no, it was an old play.
Oh.
Kobo Abe is the playwright.
Cool.
I did that. My first play at Michigan, I was one of the mechanicals in Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh, cool.
And I did the new work. Every year at Michigan, there's a new work slot, so I did.
Yeah,
the
we
new
used to
work.
do that at Wagner too. Yeah.
And do you know Haley Carlucci?
No.
She's my generation from Wagner, but
okay, gotcha.
One of my first jobs in New York was with Haley Carlucci, and she would always
went
go
to Wagner?
Wagner College.
Oh, that's funny.
Wagner College.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I just have to bring this up because we're just out here and we're chatting. Horror plays. You mentioned horror plays, and I went to go see Bug last night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Man,
gosh, it was crazy.
I worked in Chicago right after it closed, and everybody was talking about it, and I was so mad I missed it. And when it announced, I can't wait to see it.
I have to tell you, like, I for those who haven't seen it, run. It is so good. Like, it's phenomenal. And like, there's there. To your point, not many horror plays. The only few I've seen are like Grey House.
Yeah.
That was not here very long in 1984. I was clenching. Me and my girlfriend were clenching each other. We were hooked. Like, it was like we weren't. It's not that we were disturbed or like we wanted to look in so.
Oh
much.
yeah, you're in.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Carrie Coon is remarkable. Yeah, she's remarkable.
actor.
And
Oh.
I'm blanking on her. I'm blanking on the guy's name who plays the lead. I really should know his name because he too was the whole cast, but the two of them together were just perfect. I cannot recommend it enough and talk about horror plays. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Oh yeah.
Bug.
So some of my classmates were doing Susical when I was doing that. So there's no one true path. The best.
So what I was gonna ask you about. So you also did, if I'm right, some time at RADA.
I did, yes.
That's
I
after
studied
college?
Shakespeare.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
It was during my junior year, so it was
Oh,
a
okay.
study abroad. So I did
cool.
a semester studying Shakespeare at RADA.
Wow. What was that like? I've
It
never.
was transformative. It was
Right.
really, really awesome.
How do you think it differs from like how does the British way of looking at things, especially Shakespeare, differ from our lens?
Well, I would say that qualifier, especially Shakespeare, is a good example. We put Shakespeare on some kind of pedestal that makes it unattainable. Especially a musical theater actor who's like, I just worked with this guy who was like, oh, I'm an actor last. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you just exist as a human on stage. He was like a very talented guy. And it's like, I think in musical theater, we kind of talk ourselves off. Shakespeare is just like musical theater. It's all rhythm. It's all music. It's precision. You have to learn those lines exactly as they are, like your lyrics, or it doesn't work. It's heightened emotions. It's unrealistic. It's not how human beings actually behave. It's like at another level.
It's a little heightened.
It's heightened, right? I think what I learned in England at RADA, I think two great things. The first was how culturally just the culture and it has theater going in it, and just kind of the difference between, like, this just happened to me. I was at the airport flying back from visiting my mom, and this lady, I was like at the restaurant, and this lady like asked what I did, and I said I was an actor, and she was like, oh, like, are you a waiter? Like, what do you mean? And that's kind of a typical thing. You say, I'm an actor. Oh, what restaurant, right?
Right. Yeah, sure.
In England, when I went in through customs, they were like, what are you here for? And I said, I showed them the acceptance letter to RADA, and he was like, oh, amazing. Oh, wow. And like treated me with this crazy respect and like gave me a work visa because he's like, you never know. And like,
Wow.
yeah, it was just like culturally, there's this whole other
Appreciation
for the arts.
Yeah.
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 And the other thing I learned about being a performer is the head of the program, because we're only doing Shakespeare. It's been done millions of times. He's like,
Sure.
the only reason to do this is if you have something to teach about it. And so what does that mean? It's not so much like you have to be analytical and go in and like, oh, I need to outsmart this. It's not that. That's what I thought he meant.
Right.
What he meant was you're the only person with this brain.
Yeah.
Right? You're the only person with your brain. And so what is your basic understanding of a thing is going to be completely original. So follow your instinct. Read it, understand it how you understand it. Don't try and make it something else. Don't try and make it make sense. Just like do what you think it means.
Right.
And there is no wrong answer. As long as you're doing something that makes sense to you, you're going to teach somebody something new because
Right.
you're the only person with your point of view.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing I took away.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Shakespeare takes the pressure off.
exactly.
So much pressure with Shakespeare. It's like, in fact, it's the complete opposite. You have a
Yeah.
complete open playground. People have been doing this for millions of years. You're not.
Yeah.
This isn't the first revival. Of
You're not.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not confined to.
Or it's not like, tour number 3. It's not like
Yeah. Right.
you have to hit this line with this gesture because that's how every person who plays this character does it. That's not acting.
Yeah.
That can be replaced with AI, right?
Right. Yeah. Because
like-
it's a lot more. Because it's just a lot more manufactured.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. So like every production of this around the world is going to be exactly the same, and that's the point. And like
Right.
that is replaceable with AI because that's not theater.
And it lacks individualism.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
really
yeah.
what it is.
But
That's what
yeah.
AI is. Is that AI is able to attack at the things that lack individualism. AI doesn't have a perspective.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's
it's just what has been done before.
exactly.
But like, but Shakespeare, it's the same with lyrics, especially Golden Age lyrics. Like poetry can mean a lot. Poetry can mean a lot.
Right.
And I think one of the greatest things we do as actors is we interpret.
Yeah.
We don't just recite. We don't just do what the team thinks it's supposed to be.
Right.
We bring our brains. Right? Oh man, Tom Hanks said this, and he was quoting somebody, and I can't remember who, but he said, as an actor, your job is to be on time,
Yeah.
know your lines, and have an idea. And that's exactly what Jeff Bullum at Rado was saying, that have an idea. Just know what you're talking about.
Right. Right.
Know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it sounds more simple than it is, but
Keep it simple, stupid, right? That,
Yeah.
I guess you don't say that anymore, but that was like my acting teacher's big thing.
Yeah. Because it's very easy to get heady about the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very easy to like make something into more of what it is when in truth it's probably I mean, for me, like that's definitely a big issue for me is overthinking. I overthink all the time, and I'm constantly worried about not achieving some sort of something or
Some
not showing up.
expectation or-
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like I not literally, but like in the idea of being like I was hired because I was meant to meet some sort of standard,
Sure.
and I'm always afraid that I'm not going to match that. You
Sure,
know what I
sure,
mean?
sure.
Or make you. I feel like this is a universal thing amongst actors is that you get into a job and you're like, I'm worried I'm going to get fired. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even in auditioning, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, how do I give them what they want?
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like they don't know what they want till they see it.
Yeah, yeah.
If you like every casting office, every director says that. They're like
Right.
hoping the next person to walk in the room comes in with a solution.
Right.
So you have to just come within a solution and hope it's the solution at the end of the day. One of my biggest pet peeves that is like uniform in our culture is when people talk about when actors say they book work. Actors get booked. It's passive for us.
Right.
We are booked by producers. We have bookings,
Yeah.
but we don't book anything.
Sure.
So you can come in with a solution, and it's a valid solution. But if it's
Right.
not the solution, you're
Yeah.
not going to be booked.
Yeah. That's
And
interesting.
it has nothing to do with how you prepared. It has nothing to do with what you did. You could have been like the best performer of the day, but it's not the solution.
Yeah.
Like you're a foot too tall,
Yeah.
right? Because the guy who has to be bigger and stronger than you is your exact height, you know?
Just is what it is. Out of your control. Completely out of your control.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that loops back into just like have something to say.
Yeah.
you have to do all that hard work. You have to do the hard work to have the thing to say, to like come up with the idea, right?
Yeah.
You have to have the information floating around in your head.
Mm-hmm.
But the release, it should be easy by the time you get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's a hard thing for especially musical theater actors,
Yeah.
because the discipline it takes to dance and sing and the control it takes to actively do that. Like if you're singing opera, you're like thinking about the technique. I mean, you want to let go and everything, but it's the same in acting, where you have all these ideas and facts and tidbits, and if you're doing something that's been done before, previous performances, in your head you have goals of what you want it to be like, comparing yourself to other actors you like, and letting go of all that allows an audience to see the most vulnerable, embarrassing thing, your mind.
Right.
And that's the captivating thing. That's
Yeah.
Carrie Coon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. And I want to bring up the point that we were just talking about. Well, two things. First of all, we had Michael Kostroff in here. I don't know if you know him, but he's like,
Not personally.
he's had a great, oh, but you know of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, great. He has a remarkable career. And when he came on the show, he was like, I feel like all the students that I teach are always worried about that exact thing, about getting fired. Like he's like,
Yeah.
and
being perfect, doing it wrong.
yeah. And he was like, and it's one of those things where you were hired, they don't want to fire you. You know what I mean? And it's, I have to say, I was like, yeah, of course, duh. And then I was doing this, I was doing this gig recently, and I was like, I was constantly worried that if I messed something up, that, and I already had the job, like I have
Yeah,
the job, but I was constantly concerned that if I I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, I didn't mean. And it's like, well, I couldn't have known that. You know, even in little things where it was like, hey, can you try this again, but try it a little bit louder? And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm sorry, I should have, as if I should have known that beforehand.
I failed.
Yeah, right.
No.
And I had to remind myself of that exact thing. It's like, oh right, they're not looking to fire me because I wasn't loud enough. You know?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
No. I just did a show where the choreographer was. There was a sequence of solo dance moments happening, and the choreographer, she told me this after the fact, that she like called the ensemble in and was like, okay, let me just like play around and see what you've got, and they all went tight into audition mode, and she had to be like, guys, I hired you, you're here.
That part's finished. Yeah.
She's like, I'm just here to see which solo you're gonna do. You're all cast.
Yeah.
But it does feel like that.
The stakes
Yeah,
always feel
absolutely.
very-
The second week of
always feel
rehearsal
very
for
high.
me, always the second week. By the end of the second week of rehearsal, I'm like, I can't do it.
Oh,
They're gonna
really?
replace me. I can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, funny.
Well, because the first week is all instinct.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this feels good, and then you try to do it again, and you're like, oh, this feels terrible.
Wow.
And then for me, by the end of the second week, I'm like, oh God,
That's so
I have
funny.
no ideas. I have.
That's so funny. For me, it's the first week. Like,
amazing.
Many people will be like, many people who I've met on a contract or whatever will tell me, you know, the first week we thought you were kind of like standoffish or something, because I'm like so invested in my book, and so like, yes, I'd love to talk, but I've really got to make sure that I memorize this harmony, and trying to
all learn it, right?
Yes, and I like bury myself in the book, and I don't hang out, and I like, that's my first week, and then after I put in that foundation, I'm able to, and I've been trying to get better about it because I don't want to come off standoffish, but it's something that like it's very much like I really just want to make sure that I show up for you to make this like, all right, our first impression is good.
Yes,
you know?
yeah. And that's funny. I do that the last week. Somebody pointed this out to me earlier in my career. Julian Fleischer pointed this out to me. He's like, you don't like goodbyes, do you? Because like the week before we close, or like the second week before we close, I start getting really quiet. And like, and he's like, it's okay, man. And so like, I'm glad he said that, because I noticed it in myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally, that's totally something. I don't know why. It's like ubiquitous in the musical theater training.
Yeah.
Here, I don't know if it's everywhere. That perfection, because there is so much perfection. Like you gotta hit the note if you have to hit the note, right? You have to do the turns that are required. Like, in acting, there's no real good analogy except for like, if you're doing something like Aaron Sorkin or William Shakespeare, you got to get the words as they were written. But not even then. I've worked with so many playwrights that are like, get the idea. I want the idea. It's just Paradise Square. Talk about people you look up to. Jason Howland being like, sing in the chord. You know, he's like, I want this chord. Like, find it. Like for understudies and stuff, pick a note. Don't worry. Like if you're a swing, you don't have to learn all 7 harmonies. Like pick a note. There's like enough coverage here. And I was like, oh wow. early in my career, I did. I was like a year out of school, maybe 2 years out of school. I did a one night only concert of Brigadoon at the
Yes.
Schubert Theater.
Yeah.
And it was like Jason Danieli and Melissa Errico and like insane Christine Ebersole.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing. And Len Cariou. And I'm like a Sweeney stan.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Len Cariou. And we all rehearsed alone, right? And I got to play Charlie, so I got to sing Come to Me, Bend to Me.
Wow.
And like, it was this dream come true, full orchestra, like dream come true. And so the day of, we have our big rehearsal and Len's not there. And I was like, oh no, did he drop out? Oh, weird. Len Cariou showed up like 10 minutes before, said hi, very nice, completely prepared, went on stage, bam, nailed it. And I was like, I work too hard. Like, there is such a thing as like getting in your own way, as like being too perfectionist about stuff.
Yeah.
At a certain moment, you need to let go and release into the preparation you've done.
Right.
Amazing.
And it's interesting.
Amazing.
That is an amazing story. It's interesting to find the balance, because I think too what a lot of people are worried about, and I know for myself at least, I'll speak for myself, is that you're worried of not coming off, but to yourself being like, I didn't work hard enough, I'm too lazy here.
Yes,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
very easy to feel lazy.
Yeah.
Another way of saying that same thing is my first Broadway show was Cage Aux Folles. Terry Johnson was the director, a British director, and he gave me really the only note I got the whole rehearsal process is at the end of the first week. He came up to me, and I was still like, "Oh, Broadway's just the same as everything else. It's just a play." I was still like I was like, "Oh my God, a Broadway show! This is wild!"
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, it's just you show up and you sign in and you do rehearsal." That's I was still wrapping my brain around that.
Right.
He came up to me and he was like, "Hey, AJ, I see all these choices you're making, and they're all great choices, but I see all the choices you're making." And I was like, "Oh." And then to tie it to the Len Cariou story, that was me doing my work still in performance. So you have to do that. You got to do the choices.
Right.
You have to like show the choices when
Have
you're
an
creating
idea.
them. Exactly. When you're building the idea. But once you have the idea, you have it.
Right.
You don't have to do anything but have
And
it.
it kind of is meant to live and breathe through you.
Exactly.
Right.
You just have
because
it.
you've done the work.
Yeah, that's what. Sorry. I was just gonna say in Irish culturally, you don't say like Sean No singing, which is the like beautiful a cappella in Irish music. They don't say I learned a song. They say she gave me this song. I have that song.
Oh,
Right.
interesting.
I have it.
Wow.
Because
That's
when you
interesting.
sing it, you close your eyes and you kind of like go away, and it just the music comes out and all the trills and like.
Wow.
Yeah, I have that
That's
song.
an interesting.
Yeah, so
That's
you
an interesting-
have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was saying, depending on, for an actor, depending on the role, and definitely in history, depending on the role, it kind of is chicken or the egg. Whichever one comes first, the heart or the thought. For some actors, it really is just, they're devoted to, sometimes it comes out very method, they're devoted to the heart. I'm just going to go and I know what I'm doing, I got it.
Yeah.
And then the thought will come later, like, wow, that choice connected to that one. They
Right.
weren't even thinking, I'm just going to feel it.
Right.
And some parts call for that. And some parts do call for far more methodical. Like you said, even the Aaron Sorkin type, you can't. It's not improv.
You got to
We're
study.
not
Yeah.
open to-
Yeah.
We're working
Yeah.
with someone that's Tarantino, same thing. It's like we're working with someone that's saying, cut, like, dude.
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah.
So you got to come at it far more methodically. And musicals,
But you need both. You need both.
Mm-hmm.
You need even the method person. This is something I'm not a method person. And like, I respect everybody's process. But like, if you're a method person doing 8 shows a week and you know that a set change is coming and you need to stand here or you're going to get hit by something, how can you, the logic has to come in. Even if you're a heart forward person,
Right.
the logic is there.
You
Or
gotta
like,
care.
yeah, you got to move right?
Yeah.
Like, and if you're a logic person and you're like, okay, I do a lot of musicals and I need to be on 8.5, left foot on 8 here. And then when I say this line, because this is the way everyone's done it, because it's been running for 15 years. When I say this line, I move my chin 35 degrees to the northeast, right? To make, you got to feel it.
You got to connect to it.
If that tear has to come down, you got to make the tear come down.
Yeah.
As your head is pointed. I've had directors, like, not in a long time, because I bring too much chaotic energy to the audition room now, I think. But I've had directors like literally like, and put your hand when you say this word, touch the book, and and it's like, okay, how do I make this alive? Yeah. Now, okay, so you're giving me all the brain, let me bring the heart. But yes, everybody has to have both. And I think that's another difference between American and British.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Where I think Americans are very, just by nature of when Stanislavsky came here and how the information, which we can get into because this is a favorite topic of mine. Americans are very inside out. So it's very heart. It's very like, this is what I'm feeling in the moment. And it's also very American individualism. This is what I'm covering my eyes for those people listening. This is what I'm feeling in the moment. So not necessarily helpful for scene work. Where British, I feel, is a little more outside in, where it's like, if you think about pantomime or if you think about Shakespeare had no sets, had no props. It's like language and physicality is all you have to tell these stories, right? So it's like, okay, if I'm nervous, maybe I need to, and a British person would be like, oh, maybe I need to jiggle my leg. Maybe I need to like futz with my nails or like twirl my shirt. Where an American be like, okay, remember a time I was nervous and how did that feel? And and both need to connect to the other for it to be that place where you have it, where you have the idea and you can let go. You need to do both work.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What were you going to say in regards to when Stanislavsky came here and how that affected things?
I love this. Okay, so Stanislavsky came over in the 1920s, I believe, maybe a little earlier than that.
Okay.
I'm going to get all the dates wrong.
Sure.
But broad strokes, when Stanislavsky came over, they rushed he had written one of his books. He wanted to write 3 books. Basically, like the Moscow Art Theater, Yale, RADA. These are all 3-year programs, kind of based off Moscow Art's structure.
3 years. I didn't realize
3 years, one book for every year, right?
Okay.
They rushed the translation of the first book to have American audiences have it before the Moscow Art Theater arrived with Stanislavsky, so that people would go buy tickets. They would know what it was.
And that's An Actor Prepares, isn't it?
That's An Actor Prepares. And it's a lot. There's some mistranslated stuff. It's just rushed. It's kind of in a different order than he would have. He also kept editing it throughout his life. Okay. But An Actor Prepares is the first step, which is internal life, sense memory. Who am I? Like, what is my brain? If my brain's the thing making ideas, what is that? Right? That's the first step. We never got the second step, which is like, how do I present that? Stanislavsky was his favorite thing about acting was like makeup, transforming with makeup into something else. And so the New Group Theater took this text, they saw the Moscow Art Theater and they were like, holy crap, that's it. How do we do that? And they took this text and it was just the internal work, and Strasberg turned that into the method. And Stella Adler was like, I don't know that this is it, and went back to Russia and like sat down on a bench and had a conversation with Stanislavsky and kind of like brought the gospel back, and it caused a huge fissure. It's what ended the group theater.
Wow.
And it's like the different studios at NYU. It's like Meisner and Strasberg and Adler. Yeah, they all separated and they like did their own techniques. When it's really like everybody's after the same thing.
Yeah.
Like each needs everything that the other has.
Right.
And so to think of it as heart only or head only is like it's not like it's helpful as an entry point, but we all got to get to that same point of fusion, right? Yes.
That's interesting.
They're definitely from my understanding, which is pretty surface level to some extent. There are certain roles that do
lend themselves more.
To Adler, you gotta know these certain things. You gotta do your research.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Accents even.
Everything.
You can't take an accent. It's just not going to be as authentic of an performance if you're going for the truth. How are we going to get that?
But everything. Okay. In college, I come back from RADA. I've just like had the greatest time being like an actor's actor, and, like come back to musical theater school and I'm cast in the ensemble of Carousel, which is, what a beautiful show, but not necessarily what you want to do as a senior.
Sure.
And there's a scene where we're all fishermen and we're holding baskets of
classic.
clams for the clam bake. And I'm looking around, and these baskets are made of styrofoam and wicker, and everyone's just like walking around with their baskets. And I was like, how heavy are these baskets? And like, that's a little like, erudite and snobby to do. But in a heart moment where that's like, yeah, the baskets are heavy, even if you're just number 3 from the left.
Yeah.
And that changes the whole performance.
It really, it totally does, more than I think people even realize.
Yeah.
Like, I do think that you go see certain shows and you go see I saw a Christmas Carol recently at PAC that was happening at PAC.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh, talk about ensemble work.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
Crystal Lucas Perry.
Oh yeah, yes, incredible. Like that whole, that ensemble and that cast was incredible, and they're all veterans and pros. But regardless, like, I'm just saying, like, they really wasn't actually. I just thought about it. Wasn't the guy who's in Rambo with you? Wasn't he in that?
Did Taylor do that?
No, not Taylor.
I'm
I'm blanking on his name right now. I'm blanking on his name. I think he was in it.
Oh, amazing.
Anyway, sorry, that
Okay,
was an aside. But I just like had that moment as I was seeing the show again. But no, it's just like you're talking about people who are contributing something more than they even realize to the overall story.
No small parts.
By helping build that world, because that's what that is. That is world building. Is because if the people in the back are BSing, like, it doesn't hold the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another big pet peeve of mine, is like, this is only a phenomenon in long-running shows, although it's starting to change a little bit with kind of, maybe I'm just old, but with like younger kids coming in, is like, I don't know, like earning the right to goof around. It's like,
oh, sure.
Man, if you've been doing a show you have to keep your show alive. And there are ways to play games to keep it alive. Like, I believe it was Laura Linney talking about a long run that she did on Broadway. I might be misquoting who it was, but this person was like, "Oh, I found myself getting bored during the performance," which happens if you're doing 8 shows a week for a year, you know. And she was like, "Okay, today my eyelashes are 3 feet long, and just what does that mean?" So like, how do I move through space? Like, how far do I? And just like, nobody knows. It doesn't change the performance. Like, it's just right. Those kind of theater games, exercises, right? Imperative.
Yeah.
In the Cage, Douglas Hodge won a Tony for his performance of Alban. And he had been doing the role, I think he did it for 2 or 3 years in London before the year he did it in America, in New York. And he was vibrant and alive every performance. And I noticed, I call the Cage my grad school because I just got to sit for a year and watch Kelsey Grammar and Douglas Hodge like do a really, really good piece. Like, I read my Stanislavsky, a different translation. Gene Benedetti's translation of Stanislavsky's books is excellent. He takes all the active words like objective, and he just uses different words. So you like think about it differently. It's really excellent. And so I was doing all the exercises because I had the same piece I was doing 8 shows a week for over a year. But Douglas Hodge would like every few shows pick one very small thing and just do something different that didn't affect anyone but him. Like, he would futz with the silverware at the table. And then one day I noticed he would stop doing that, and he would like sneak a taste of sugar from the sugar bowl. Just a little, tiny little thing. And that would be the one change. But it would make, I started doing that. And for me, it made the whole performance leading up to the little baby change exciting, because it was like, ooh, here it comes. And then afterward, it was like, oh, instinct again. It's a whole new world. Right? And that's like the best little, have an idea. Like just tiny things like that. And those little ideas can only resonate and bounce that way if you've done the brain work, if you've done the hard work, that it's not going to affect anything else. You've done the work with your partner, just with not with yourself, but with your scene partner. You guys both know this scene. You guys can both ride that wave together in tandem.
Yeah, there's something about that that's very, there's something about it that's very, exactly that, alive. There's something about that that feels like it's breathing, you know, yeah, and I was just going to say something in regards to this, but yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. But were you going to say something?
I just remember, when this was like the first time I ever really felt it, which is almost like a little Meisner where it's like you're going. We're doing this scene. A Little Shop of Horrors. I was like 14.
Yeah.
I was a dentist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dreams.
Like, this is.
He won an award for it, by the way.
Hey.
It was the director had, it was like her first time directing or whatever, and she was like running it through over and over and over again. Like you said, we got tired of it where we were just exhausted, whatever it is. After a certain amount of times I've done this scene, he's only in act 1, I think. So it's like, that was just it. And I go, probably tech, whatever it was, I can't remember now, but it was definitely on stage. And I just looked at the plant, and I'd never done that before. Just looked at the,
Isn't that wild? We get ourselves in these things like I don't even look in a different place. I am a human being in a room and I only look at that one doorknob.
Yeah.
It's like what?
How refreshing. Eyes, and then that can change. It doesn't have to change the whole intention of everything to come up with something new. It just like you said it clicked me into it.
Yeah.
To make me to close, and you told me this before, to close that fourth wall.
Yeah.
I'm in there with another human now.
Yes,
right.
yes.
I remember looking at Audrey, and she's such a good actor. She had looked back at me, and I was like, holy crap, we're living and breathing. I was like, this is acting. That was the moment.
Well, you changing that one thing changed it for her too.
For sure.
Right.
Like it's just like
She has no choice.
all of a sudden, like we're all
because
together.
If she's really listening, then she has no choice. I think that it's funny.
In a nice way, and it's not like you start. It's not like you like started making like fart noises with your armpit or something.
No.
Like
No, but I just mean she has.
like go with this.
Yeah. What are you gonna do now? but it's true because now she has to come up with something. There's something about it that's refreshing.
Well, it's just alive.
Yeah, and I think about it with like I teach children's theater and at Staten Island Children's Theater and that's where we did children's theater as well. And what's funny about it is exactly that, is that you have these kids, some of them really little, like some of them are like 10 years old, right? And they've rehearsed this and they've came in prepared, which is amazing. And we want that and wonderful. But now I'm going to take what you did and I'm going to mold it and I'm going to change it and I'm going to ask you to,
right?
Yeah. And it's so funny because I think that some kids are more malleable to that than some kids. They cannot hear something like that because they've rehearsed it so much with their parents or with whatever that they've become kind of like cement when it dries over.
That's great advice for auditioning as well.
Yeah.
It's something that's very difficult for me because I am a preparer. Is when you get an adjustment in an audition, you don't know why. When I auditioned for La Cage, the packet was it was like the song and the first scene and that was it. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole part in the second act where the character Jean-Michel gets very flustered. And so they're like, can you do the scene again? This is just a scene of like a guy coming home from college being like, hey dad, what's up? I got something to tell you. I'm in love, right? Can you do the scene again? Just insanely flustered. They wanted to see that quality and they only had that text to use. And like, thankfully that day I was like feeling loosey-goosey and I was like, sure. And it worked out. But it's so hard when you have an idea, when you come in with your idea and they want to see another color, you can't hold on to that idea. You have to have it. You can't hold, I don't know how, what other words.
It's
like,
a very
to
good
be able
point.
to let it wash off and do something else.
Right.
You can't be over prepared.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And you kind of gotta
too well done, too cured.
Yeah,
like the
and
cement.
you can't stick to that thing. You kind of like do it to let it go.
Yes,
which is like
exactly.
feels counterintuitive.
It's really hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I remember there was an actor that said once to me that if I was like there was like one moment, this stupid like dance or whatever show, and they were like, it's like just in that moment I'm gonna switch it up. I'm every night I'm gonna switch it up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do whatever. And her character's supposed to be shocked, and she goes to me, well then I'm gonna be shocked. And I was like, that's
great.
that's why we're
acting.
We're doing
Yeah.
And maybe acting, sometimes the word acting can make them feel like, pretend, or I'd rather the playing part than playing pretend. Like,
Yeah.
Playing part.
All right.
Because a kid, even what you were saying, the reason why some kids just get it to me sometimes, where I'm just like, they can let go, is because they're so instinctual.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So they're so black and white that they're either really rehearsed,
Yes.
and if they just let go, they're the most instinctual people on earth.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That is true. What I was gonna say in regards to the idea of like uplifting things because of getting bored or whatever. Like I'll tell you honestly, I had experienced that in auditions where
Yeah, you do the
even
same
though
song
it's
over and over.
You do
Yeah.
the same song over and over, and sometimes it's really there's not a whole lot to it, and so you're bringing in your book and you're doing your go-to, and that you're doing it pretty well, but they're going thank you, and that's it, and that's what the audition is, and so I had to come up with a way to make it still exciting for myself. And so what I started doing was I started giving myself notes. So I started to go into the room and not give myself notes as if I was watching myself from the outside in, but rather be like, today I think I want to try it and loosen it up. Or today I want to try it and think about, if I'm doing this monologue, I want to lean into the idea that he's afraid to say what he's about to say.
Yeah.
Suddenly that one little switch has made the task of it more exciting without losing its core.
Its integrity.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and you don't even have to be that analytical about it. You could be like, what if like my toe itches?
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
or I stubbed my toe last night.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, my foot hurts.
Right.
What happens to
There's some
to
sort
come
of-
to me, bend to me, if like my toe hurts? Who knows?
It's true.
And that's the chaotic energy. I was talking about.
Yeah. But it's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. I want to ask you this businessy question that we always ask, which is, what was the job that got you your equity card, and how did you get your first agent?
Ooh. Okay. I got my first agent before my equity card. So coming to New York to see shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Was this the same trip that I saw Ragtime? So visiting my aunt, I had done plays at the Columbus Children's Theater. It was starting to take up all my time. And the Columbus Children's Theater had a relationship with an agent called Nancy Carson, who had all the kids. She's since retired, but the office, I think, still does good stuff. And
Is that Carson Colber or Carson Adler?
Carson Adler.
Carson Adler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went to have a meeting with Nancy. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, cool. And she had me I remember she talked to me and my mom, and she had me read copy for a Campbell Soup commercial, and I just read it.
Oh.
I don't know what was happening.
Yeah.
She asked me, I sang something a cappella, and she was like, "What are you doing at 2:00?" And the Sound of Music Broadway tour was having auditions that day, and she called in a favor with the music director, Michael Rafter, and I went in during the lunch break. It was final callbacks. I went in during the lunch break. I sang for the music director. He measured me because the heights of the kids are very important. And he was like, "Come back in 2 hours."
Oh my gosh.
So I came back and sang for the team. And then the next day was a mix and match. I had no idea that this was abnormal because I had yet to audition for something and
how
not
old
be
were you?
cast. 10, 11,
Wow.
11. And I was cast.
That is nuts.
Yeah, so that's where I got my equity card.
What is it, Kurt?
Understudying Kurt and Friedrich.
Oh
I was
my
a swing. I was
goodness.
baby swing. Yeah.
Wow, on the tour?
On the tour of The Sound of Music. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So
then-
how long did you do that for?
I did 6 months.
Wow.
And I was in final callbacks for Seussical on Broadway to play JoJo.
Oh my gosh.
And it was the first time that I wasn't cast, and I didn't understand it. I was like, but I want to do it.
Right.
And I was like,
that's
oh, man.
funny.
And then I ended up going to college with Andrew Keenan Bolger, who was cast.
I was gonna say, oh my gosh, that is so funny. That's
Yeah.
crazy. What a
Yeah.
crazy story.
I know,
Wow.
wild.
And did
So-
you retain that agent throughout, into your adult? Because you mentioned that you had a child agent during.
yeah, I was with Nancy Carson, and then at some point, I moved to New York and was in New York for a couple years, and I moved to Innovative Artists, and then I was with them, but I moved back to Ohio, so I wasn't working. I hit my growth spurt and moved away.
Sure. That's
'Cause
funny.
New York's expensive.
Yeah.
And then when I was really lucky, Michigan has a showcase.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky from showcase. I got agents. and
Nice.
a
Oh
manager.
wow, that's so cool though.
Because
What
my
a cool
person
thing.
at Innovative had left by
Okay.
the time I graduated.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
I,
How cool though. That's
yeah.
such a cool. Yeah, that's a.
I was
that's
so
a-
lucky. I got
Yeah.
agents, and Joe Iconis, the musical theater writer, was at my showcase, and I ended up getting hired to swing his show that was happening off Broadway
Oh my
my first
gosh.
summer. I was really.
What show was that?
It was The Plant That Ate Dirty Socks.
Oh, okay.
For TheaterWorks.
That's funny.
But it was amazing, and that became such a good community for me.
Yeah.
Continues to be.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I was cast in La Cage like later that year. It was wild.
That's awesome. That's
was
crazy.
wild.
So
Yeah.
you book your first Broadway show.
I was
a
booked.
year. Yeah, yes, right. Yeah, yeah. You were booked in your first Broadway show. A year after college.
Yeah,
Like how
it was crazy.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
What did you know about Lacage going into it?
I knew the birdcage and loved the birdcage.
Yeah.
I did my smart research and knew it was a production from London and went and looked at the London's production photos and I was like,
that revival was. Oh, okay.
it was from the Meunier Chocolate Factory and I was like, I look like that guy. This is another great story of I always say I owe my career to Alex Brightman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I got the audition for Lacage because I was doing a play in the Fringe Festival, straight play, with Autumn Hurlbert. We were playing romantic interests, and the casting director from Lacage, Duncan Stewart, came and he saw that play, and had me come in. And it was it's similar to The Sound of Music. They had been looking for people, so.
You had a pre-screen?
I had a pre-screen so he could hear me sing, and the whole team was in town. So I went in for the whole team the next day. I only had one audition, but I was in the room for a long time.
Oh my gosh!
And I was cast because they were already in their like final stage.
Yeah.
And
That's
the reason
crazy.
I was doing that Fringe play is Alex Brightman was doing Wicked, and they had a bunch of put-in rehearsals they had to do, which conflicted with the performance schedule. So he had to drop out of the Fringe play like weeks into rehearsal, and I was
Wow.
cast.
Oh
I was
my
cast
gosh!
like halfway through that process.
I didn't
to
even know
come
Alex
in.
Brightman was in Wicked. Who was he in Wicked?
I think he was Bach.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So because he had to pull out, you got
Yes,
the part that
yes.
wound up getting you. Oh
Yes.
my gosh!
Isn't that wild?
That is so wild. Like everything is so consequential
Yes.
in that way. It's like
Yeah.
so weird.
Crazy.
That's so crazy. So how long were you in Lacage for?
It ran for a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yeah, which is still
Some
my
of the
longest
people
run.
who were in this show, particularly who played George, were like unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Crazy.
So Kelsey Grammer originated that
Grammer, yeah,
production.
yeah.
Jeffrey Tambor.
Yep.
Harvey Firestein was in it, right?
played Alban,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say he wasn't George, but he was also.
Yeah.
Was he in it throughout the
He
entire?
replaced when Douglas Hodge left. After the
Okay,
year.
gotcha.
And he
Sieber.
wrote it.
Yeah, right. And,
Yeah.
Chris Sieber.
Chris Sieber,
Like
yes.
nuts
I know.
people who are part of this. Were you? I mean, this sounds like a silly question, but I'm like, were you nervous going into it?
Yes and no. I was too overwhelmed to be like cripplingly nervous.
Sure.
It was also like, well, that's what you expect. It's Broadway. It's different. So like, I don't know. I kind of showed up and I didn't know what to expect. And I was like, there are fancy people everywhere. It's like Vianne Cox and Christine Andreas. And
Unbelievable.
Like Fred Applegate. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Everyone, it was a really, really good group. Elena Shadow played Anne opposite me, and it was her like 10th Broadway show already, and so she was like very helpful. And the Cagelles, it was a lot of debuts, and so there were a lot of new people, and there were a lot of veterans, and
That's nice.
It just made it feel. I felt like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Of course, it was nerve-wracking, and there was a moment. We had little cabaret tables that were very close to the stage that were kind of lit from the spill. And there was one night where I like made eye contact with someone in the cabaret table, and the time-space continuum collapsed on me. And I went to the white room and like lost my lyrics and
man.
was terrifying. And I would like panic before we got to that section for a while after that. But really,
Because that can be really jarring.
I was so like in the work of it.
Yeah.
I think I was close enough to school that I like didn't let myself get to a place where I felt nervous. And then, I mean, I'm a stage frighty person, so like the playing the games, the having exercises helped me a lot. Having such a like actor forward company helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Having a director and a music director that weren't like sticklers, that like allowed life to happen on
Right.
stage was really helpful. I've been much more nervous in auditions than
Sure.
than doing that show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
What theater was that?
That was at the Long Acre,
Oh, very cool.
or as
Very
people
cool.
call it now, the Short Acre, because nothing lasts.
Yeah. That's funny. That's exciting though, and a big part of what this journey is, and this is why I always ask this question, is like you do this year and a half run on Broadway. It's your Broadway debut. You're fresh out of college, pretty much, and then. I think a lot of the way that I had perceived this business was that you book Broadway and then
you're done. Yeah.
I'm set.
Yeah, that's it. You book Broadway. Yeah, and then I was down to the final couple people for Pippin, and I wasn't cast.
Sure.
And
it just-
then we just keep going. Yeah.
Right. So what do you do in the interim? What is the first thing you do?
After?
Yeah.
Save your money. Don't buy anything crazy, because that every time I've been on Broadway, the year after has been my worst year financially, because you're auditioning for bigger and bigger things.
Right.
And those are more and more competitive.
Right.
So, you strike while the iron's hot. You got to swing big, but it's not always a payday. So
Right.
you just, when you have it, be responsible with it.
That's a very good point, actually.
Yeah. I mean, was it my manager? Somebody, when Lacage got like a New York Times Critics pick or something, we got like a good review, and it was clear we were going to run.
Yeah.
My agent was like, "Don't buy a house. Like
Not
pay off your debts for sure.
Yeah.
Pay off your loans. Start your 401k, right?
Right,
Open that
right.
Roth IRA, but
be careful
Save
with
it.
the
Yeah.
way that you're going
Yeah,
to
because-
long term here.
yeah, I mean, yeah, Paradise Square, like is like still paying for my life, Yeah.
What do you mean? How so?
Just like the amount of money you make on Broadway, you can save and use it, like live off your savings and be pickier about the stuff you choose. And,
Oh, that's interesting.
And I've had other work, but like
Yeah.
you do Paradise Square and you're paid Broadway salary, and then you do Man of No Importance, which is like equally as fulfilling and like all the awards and all the cool stuff, but pays $800 a week, which is like less than it costs to live here. And so like Paradise Square paid for me to be able to do Man of No Importance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, and that's wild considering.
Yeah.
like it's just such a
Yeah.
because the press feels in certain respects similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Especially with
Well,
Man
and
of
the
No
experience
Importance. Jim
of it.
Parsons was in Man of No
Yeah,
Importance. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah.
the star power, in a way, that Man of No Importance production feels almost bigger. Than
I
Paradise
agree.
Square in some
I agree.
respects.
It made more of an impact, I
Right,
think. Yeah.
right.
But like
Bizarre.
that's the way it goes. Yeah.
So I want to talk about Bright Star because a couple years
my
later,
favorite.
you go into. Were you a part of Bright Star from its original development?
I didn't do the very, very first reading at New York
Okay.
Stage and Film. That was, oh my God, who was it? Give me a second. Oh gosh. Someone who had to drop out because they got a TV show, and I cannot remember for the life of me.
Interesting.
Regardless, but I did the second reading and everything after that.
Wow.
6 years.
Wow.
Or 7 years. 7 years,
Did
because I
you
did
audition?
afterward.
Did you audition for Steve Martin?
Yeah.
my
So
gosh.
again, it's so funny because like I went into Next to Normal maybe like 7 times for the original Broadway production.
Sure.
Because I was in between the parts. Like
Yeah.
I've auditioned for things over like multiple times. Bright Star again, one audition. Paradise Square, one audition.
Who's to say? Yeah.
Yeah. When it's right, it's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I auditioned for a workshop. The whole team was there. I sang a song, an arrangement of a song that had been produced by Peter Asher, who was the music supervisor. It was another, like, I did my research. Like, I knew, like, Steve Martin, it was bluegrass. I knew all that, but I was like, oh, Peter Asher, he's the producer. He gave us James Taylor. I love James Taylor. I'm going to do a James Taylor song for Peter Asher. And, like, it worked out.
And in some cases, that could be risky, right? Because,
Well, it's like anything. They say the do not sing list, right? The overdone songs. Well, that's only if you don't have an idea.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's a good point.
Like, teach me something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it, like, also, fortuitous timing. I had just gone through a pretty tough breakup, and one of the audition scenes was like the speech at my mother's graveside. So just like the tears came easily. I didn't have to do anything. I could just release, you know.
Right.
And this is like the only time it's ever happened to me. It was at which studio? At Ripley Greer. There's one studio where you open the door and there's a long skinny hallway before you get to the room. And so I like said thank you and got my book and was leaving, and I was in the skinny hallway part where I hadn't left yet, but it looked like I had. And I heard Walter Bobby, the director, go, "I think we should talk. I think we should have a talk." And I was like, I think I got it.
That's awesome.
And that was just for a workshop.
Yeah.
And so that workshop happened, and we did an out of town tryout, and we did another workshop.
It's really one of these things. Like, I want to emphasize this with theater because I am inherently, and sometimes I'm trying to get better about this, but inherently superstitious because, and some might call it superstitious, some might just call it like what's the word? Like protective.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, nothing's official till it's official.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where it's like, you book the workshop, that's a great thing. Doesn't mean you're going to transfer to Broadway. Doesn't mean you're going to transfer to
no.
whatever production that they need next.
Absolutely not. Well, so I did out of town at the Old Globe, and we did another workshop. And then we had financing to do an out of town and Broadway. And I got a call saying, listen, we have new producers attached. There are a lot of new people attached. Nobody else has ever auditioned for this because the only audition we had was for one workshop like 4 years ago. We're going to have to see like people who were too fancy to do a workshop. We have to see if they're interested, available. If we find someone we like, we'll have you come back to final callbacks.
Oh, wow.
I had a friend who had done the same journey with Gentleman's Guide.
Wow.
Like did it out of town, did all the workshops, had the same conversation, and went to final callbacks and was not cast.
Wow.
Yeah, they booked someone else.
That's crazy.
And I had a mental breakdown.
Yeah,
Luckily, I was doing a good contract. I was doing a production of First Date in Houston.
Oh, cool.
So it was like
Where in Houston?
at Tuts.
Oh, at Tuts. Nice. Okay, I was going to ask that.
So it was like a fun show, but it was really short. So
Yeah.
like once it starts, you're pretty much done already. And it was like a cast of all people my age who were super cool. So
Yeah.
I had a nice distraction.
Wait, that situation with Gentleman's Guide happened to you?
No, that happened to
Oh,
a friend of mine.
okay.
So knowing that, but that happened the year before.
Right. So you were
To
already
a friend of
walking
mine.
in
So
cautiously.
I was like, oh, I'm fired. This is them like,
So how did you walk into that final callback?
I didn't have to. They didn't find anybody.
Oh, nice. That is
I was
so
like, oh,
relieving.
because other people did go to a final callback and not all of them were hired.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
Wild.
Yeah. Really wild. And especially you were like, the lead of the show. Like there's the it feels like the likelihood of doing something like that feels kind of high just because of what it is. You know what I mean?
But like untested, I had done a lot. I've done a lot of regional theater.
Yeah.
But in New York, the last thing I had done in New York was Lacage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that role is very different than Billy and Bright Star.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel feel very lucky.
Yeah. Talk to me
That
about
team.
What I was gonna say. Talk to me about this team. Well, who's the director?
Walter Bobby.
Yeah. Talk to me about, I guess, essentially because you were part of it for so long. This is a completely original musical, right? Am I crazy?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a completely original musical, and like, talk to me about building this musical from the ground up and how much you learned from what changed in all of its variations.
I was going to say this earlier, having done so much new work now, when I do a show that's been done before, like I did a concert version of Young Frankenstein earlier this year.
Oh, cool.
And you hear certain things and you're like, oh, this music is to cover a scene change. Like, we don't actually need to do this. Or like, oh, this dialogue is probably because the quick change took too long. Or like, because that's the kind of stuff, like, stuff that feels like filler probably is. It's like, oh, the scene change isn't working here in our third preview on Broadway. So like, let's write 4 lines of dialogue. And then that's what gets in the version that every high school does. And they don't need it.
Right.
It's like, you don't need those 6 bars because your set doesn't have to go into like this corner of this tiny theater on Broadway. Like that's wild to me. That's still breaks my mind a little bit when you see a production of something and you're like, oh my gosh, this was probably written on the fly in the moment.
And now
and it goes back to the kind of like theater isn't made to be a stiff, solid thing.
Yeah.
Like,
but it does, those moments do become permanent.
But they come permanent, and like some people are stiff about it, and it's like, cut it, man. If you don't need it, cut it. Like,
yeah. Well, sometimes the licensing people won't even let you.
I know. It's
so
wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. It always gets me about productions of Chorus Line. They're so specific, but that original cast. I know they're so specific because they are the original cast, but the original cast, it was just them. And I'm like, let the new people be them. That's the magic of the show.
That's a good point.
But
yeah, so with
with Bright Star, I mean, Steve Martin and Edie Brickell have, I think, 3 bluegrass albums that are excellent, and I would say 90% of that music was written for Bright Star.
Wow.
So excellent. You should absolutely listen to all of them. Wow. And then listen with the ears of like Bright Star's story, and you're like, oh my God, that's wild.
That's funny.
It was my first time being in a show from the beginning through the end and then beyond, because we went to LA after Broadway closed. And it was such a collaborative team effort from all parties. Josh Rhodes, our choreographer, would have
Very cool.
Like the choreographer would have music ideas, and our music director would have an idea about like a movement thing, and like Walter Bobby would have like a melody idea. Like everybody, they were all so collaborative with each other.
Right.
And it was wonderful. It was just, even our producer Joey Parnes would just like come hang out. I remember he would come to the theater. He'd be like, "Sorry, I'm here. I just kind of like it here." It's like, it's okay, man.
That's funny.
And like it was the year of Hamilton, so there was not a lot of oxygen in the room, and like we didn't sell very well. Like we had good numbers of attendance, but our ticket price was really low.
Okay.
And we were always on the verge of like meeting our costs.
Okay.
We were like slowly, like we would like bleed $5,000 a week, and it's like so close, you know.
Yeah.
Joey was so great. I've never had this since. As a producer, he would come and he would just kind of on Sundays give us the like state of the union, like state of the show, like where we are financially, how things, what our plans were. So like it was all above board. Right. Most of the time, they don't tell actors anything.
No, right.
Because they expect us. They worry it will affect our performance. Absolutely not. We perform better knowing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Like without the question of it all.
Right.
But seeing it change, my favorite example is the moment, the song At Long Last, like the big 11 o'clock number. The first version I did, that was a song for Billy called The Wheels Keep Turning, but the hook was, my mother was a train. Like it was this whole big song, like lies, oh lies. Like a breakdown for Billy. And after that workshop, when we went to San Diego, the team was like, we need Alice's point of view here. And so it became a trio for Billy, Daddy Kane, and Alice Murphy.
Wow.
Right? And they're like, that's still not it. That's still not it. And so they wrote, Carmen would do a speech there, and they didn't have a song. And one day, Edie Brickell leaves the room. She's gone for like 10 minutes. She comes back, and she has At Long Last, as is, done. And we were like, you wrote that in 10 minutes? And she was like, I wrote it in 5, but it seemed too soon to come back in. It just like came to her. Like the day before we left for DC for our tryout. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Talk to me about, it's so funny because when you see Steve Martin's name is attached to Bright Star, it's like Bright Star is not necessarily, you wouldn't associate
it's not
those
wild
two
and crazy.
Things. Yeah, no, it's not a wild, crazy comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not the jerk or like, these like, but he wrote the lyrics on it, right?
They both
did music and lyrics
they both did music and lyrics, and he wrote the book.
Oh yes, right.
Yeah.
But I love Bright Star. I think Bright Star has become one of those shows that is that has gotten most of its fame from the back end.
I think so.
Because I mean now like Wagner's doing it this year.
Yeah.
And like
We're shocked, by the way. We thought that people would do it, but we're shocked that there are so many young people that can do the role of Alice. We thought they'd split it into young and old Alice.
Oh, interesting.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's done all the time.
It's become like one of those things where of course it was very short lived, and yet somehow it feels like you're like I was looking it up yesterday and I was like probably did like 6 or 7 months, and then I was like, oh my gosh,
It's like 3.
Right. I was, and I knew it was the Hamilton year and everything, but I still thought that it lasted one of those like spring to September type things rather than like a spring to June.
Yeah.
You know, like, and
The week of the Tonys was our last week.
how bizarre.
Yeah.
You know, like that. It's and yeah, especially because now we were actually talking about it with Jeb Brown about Dead Outlaw too.
Yeah,
Like, Dead
same,
Outlaw is a similar show where I feel like in the back end loved that show, and in the back end I feel like it's going to get much more
absolutely.
notoriety because
It's producible.
yes, and also I guess I would just think to myself, I'm like, Steve Martin is such a notable name that also would be a huge selling point.
Well, I think people did come expecting a Steve Martin wild and crazy guy. I say 2 things. Steve Martin's wife, he met. If you know the story of Bright Star, it's the story of a young man who comes home from World War II and he leaves his small Appalachian town to pursue his dream of becoming a writer, gets a mentor at a literary magazine, and oh no, what do you say? Do I spoil the end or not?
Spoil it.
She's his mom. So it's like a Southern Gothic drama. It's beautiful. The reason it works now, Walter Bobby said the goal of the show was to have everybody in the theater feeling like they were part of the community by the end of the piece. And that happens whether it's on Broadway, whether it's in a high school. I've seen multiple high school productions and like it works. Something about this score just gets everybody. This score in this story gets everybody.
Yeah.
But I would say Steve Martin met his wife because she was the editor at New York Magazine, and he was a contributing writer. And this is like a love letter to his family. And this is Steve Martin having a daughter. This is Steve Martin's like heart.
Oh, I did not realize that at all.
Yeah.
Because I had thought that his daughter was far too young to I guess she's how old is she? I mean, now she must be like a teenager, right?
10, yeah.
Almost a teenager?
Yeah, she was probably, when they started writing the piece, was like very little.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Because I just watched it, but like a couple months ago, watched this documentary, the one that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was really where I got the perspective of how he met his wife and having this daughter, and but yeah, that's interesting.
And knowing that, looking at the Billy Alice relationship, even though it's obviously not the same as Steve and his wife, but
there's something there.
But it's his heart.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I was gonna say too about Steve Martin is that I think that what a lot of people don't realize, especially if you haven't like read up on him or watched this documentary, or like I've met him once or twice. I was doing background on Only Murders in the Building, and it was like one of
he's the best.
And
Martin
truly,
Short.
true. The two of them are genuinely the best, but he's significantly quieter than I think people think, because he's such an outgoing comedian, and his whole career has been known to be this outgoing comedian. But he is much more reserved, and anyway, I think that you do see a lot of his truth in the show, and also you see it within his banjo playing in general. Like it's it's so beautiful. That music is so unique. I don't think that there's a show that quite matches the bluegrass folk element of that show. I think that there are shows that have come close, like Shucked or like things like that. But I think that the essence of what Bright Star's music is doesn't even feel like musical theater, and there's something about that feels new.
Well, and a lot of it was the musicians they got. I mean, the whole band, but specifically the banjo and the violin. They got players who, for banjo, there are two sets. There's picking and there's claw hammer.
Okay.
2 very different styles of playing, and people usually only do one.
Oh.
They compose for both, because Steve can do both.
Oh, wow.
And then for the violin, there's a lot of classical into fiddling back into classical, and it's just 2 very different styles.
That's
and so
interesting.
They found not only 2 people that could do that, Martha and Bennett, I've lost their last names, incredible, but they found like 2 like tall, insanely attractive, like model pretty musicians
funny.
to do that and be on stage with us, and kind of that was another beauty of Walter and Josh's staging, is they had the band on stage, and so it was like the whole thing was like a memory play almost. And
Wow.
so like she'd wander around, the fiddle became the emotion of longing for the baby.
Oh,
right.
cool.
And so when Karma's character was feeling that, when Alice is feeling that, she'd come down off the platform playing and stand behind
wow.
her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy that it's gained this like second life.
Me too.
Now,
Me
and
too. It's my
uh,
favorite. It's like the best experience I've
And
ever
it's
had.
just and it is very special and unique in that way. And you did the tour after. Was there?
Yeah. So we went to
That's the
LA
LA
and San Francisco for 6 months.
Very
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
How did it resonate over there? 6 months. Oh my gosh, that was longer than the Broadway run.
I know. I know. That's
incredible.
It was great. It was so cool because we got to go back into the rehearsal room. They actually made some changes, which I think are in the version now, in the licensed version. They like zhuzhed up the top of Act 2. And it was, I would say, 90%, maybe like 75% of the Broadway cast came back. Like a lot of principals came back, and then the rest of the principals were basically all the other principals were understudies.
Oh, cool.
And a lot of the new people were from LA, which was cool.
Very cool.
It was like half the people that were doing Frozen at Disneyland.
That's funny.
And it was so great to come back to it after, I think we had been closed for like 9 months by the time we went back into rehearsal, and it was maybe not even that long. I can't remember the timing, but it was great to come back to it. And my dad is from LA.
Oh, cool.
And so I actually, one of the major reasons I did it after I heard Carmen was doing it, was my family from California all had tickets to see Bright Star in the end of the summer, but we closed.
And you closed.
So it was a way for them to be able to see me in it.
Nice.
And I got to stay in my dad's childhood bedroom
Oh
while we
my
were putting it back
gosh.
up.
No
and like
way.
I got that time with my grandparents.
Oh,
my
that's
grandma always
awesome.
joked, she was like, "It's not often you hear about grandkids moving home for a good reason."
That's
And
funny.
it was just beyond the show being what it is and about family and a community and love and just kind of like rips you open, to have that time with my grandparents and to like live in my dad, the house my dad grew up in. And it was really, really special.
Yeah, that is special.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a little bit about your tap history and what your dance history was like in general,
man. Okay.
especially being a theater, like, semi theater kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your...
Mover Plus.
Okay, sure.
Mover Plus. When I graduated, I was assigned Mover Plus. Tell people that. I always say, I tell the story. I'm a pretty academic person, and tap class at the University of Michigan is the only class I ever got a C in. I got a C because it was early in the morning and I was bad at it, and so I had a bad attitude and I didn't change lines. I would just stay in the back the whole time. And
funny.
after first semester, I got a C, and I was like, I have a scholarship.
Oh my gosh.
And I learned a good lesson. You don't have to be good at it to have fun.
Wow.
And the reason, I assume you're going to segue into Paradise Square.
Of course, yeah.
The reason I looked like I knew what I was doing is because of Jason Aramis and Garrett Coleman, who were the specialty Irish choreographers, and also in the show in Paradise Square.
Oh, I didn't realize they were in the show.
Yeah, those tap boys.
That was them.
Oh yeah, the featured Irish boys were
my
them.
gosh.
Yeah,
They were incredible.
insane. Jason sadly got injured when we were in Chicago, so wasn't able to do the Broadway run, which was like devastating.
Yeah.
But they're the best guys, and they would like. Thankfully, and I was with Paradise for again like 5 years.
Wow.
And doing workshops and stuff, and so like I had enough time to look like I knew what I was doing, and they choreographed to my body, and it would be like they tried to teach me basic steps, and I would like couldn't do some of the basic steps, and I would see them goofing off in the corner for themselves, and I would just like start copying them, and they'd be like, "That's really hard," and like I didn't know any better, so we were able to cobble together something that made choreographic sense and also felt natural to the way I moved.
Yeah.
Bill T. Jones was the choreographer for a long time, and he and I didn't really have that much to do together because most of my dancing was Irish dancing, and Bill doesn't do that. But he works from a place where he believes your best work comes from beyond the limit you set for yourself, which is like very intense and difficult, but true. And so kind of helped me. It was very, very, very fraught and difficult, but get to like past that breaking point or like at least more comfortable being in the breaking point. It like hurts your body and your spirit, but like maybe helped me not give up.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Like when I auditioned for Paradise Square, the role was completely different.
Oh, is that right?
Completely different. Craig Lucas had been the book writer, and it was a completely different story.
Really?
Yeah. I auditioned, and they were like, there might be a moment of Irish step dance. And I was like, that's fine. I went to like a little one-on-one movement assessment, and they're like, he'll be fine. Eventually, the story changed so that basically all I did was Irish dance.
I was going to say, yeah.
I would never have been cast. I would have turned down the audition for what the final version was.
Wow.
But for another huge support through that process, Chloe Davis, who was our another dance captain and associate choreographer. She choreographed a lot of stuff, and she's the one that helped me. She and Garrett and Jason helped me figure out how to be a dancer, how to release, how to have the idea, right?
Yeah.
How to release the steps, how to kind of exist in the dance. Because it's the kind of thing where if I flub a line, even if it's a lyric, I can get back on, right? If I flub a dance step, I'm gone.
You're gone.
Right? I don't have the
It's
expertise,
true.
right?
It's true.
I've still to this day been cut from every dance call I've ever been to.
Is that right?
And it's like, I have a Cheeto nomination. Like,
yeah, I was going to say,
it's crazy.
how incredible.
Yeah, isn't that wild? When my like faculty from Michigan came to see Paradise Square, they were like, what?
Where is this,
I was
man?
like, I don't know.
We were giving you C's, man.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. No, I got an A the next semester because I smiled more. Because I didn't look like I was going to blow up the building.
That's
but yeah, it was, not.
When it was presented to you, what was the original plot? And this was way before the pandemic, right?
This was not way. This was in maybe 2018.
18.
Yeah. And it was, the story was more centered around Stephen Foster.
Okay.
And it was about his time in the 5 Points, and I played a gay love interest for him.
Oh.
An Irish immigrant still. I remember one of the lines from my audition scene was like, I've seen the way you look at me. I know I need money, or something like that. I was like offering myself, right? Very different.
Yeah, very different.
Very
Wow.
different.
How much did your Irish background like play into the show, and like how much is you? I guess this is a bit of a general question, but how much do you feel that it's played into your career in general?
I mean, a lot. I think early in my career, because things were different, I played Jewish a lot, which was strange because I'm a very Irish person, Irish English person. But I have curly brown hair, so like
there's something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I, am culturally very Irish American, and learned a lot more about actual Irish culture, specifically pre-Christian Irish culture for the role.
Oh.
I researched a lot of just kind of the like creation myths and like how the Irish people relate to the land, and like Irish creation myths aren't necessarily about how man was made, it's how the land was formed.
Oh.
And it's like people were already here doing stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's
yeah,
really interesting.
It's very cool. And so I connected a lot of what I did to just like earthy, elemental stuff. I learned a lot about kind of the like centuries long occupation of Ireland and kind of what it meant. If we called the Irish immigrants in the text of the piece, but a more apt term would be refugee. And so the story of formerly enslaved people and refugee people coming together, which is true, in New York City, was such an incredibly powerful room to be in. we had native Irish people on the team. Larry Kerwin, our original conceiver and another book writer, was there every day, and he was like huge proponent for Irish independence, and it was such a like electric room to be in. I would say some of the highest highs and lowest lows of my whole career. The group of people in that cast and crew and on that team is like the smartest, most game, most like willing to be vulnerable group of people I've ever been with. It was electric to be a part of, like for better, for worse. You would get shocked sometimes, but it was just, and it like burned a lot of calories.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
And it was really stressful and difficult and beautiful. And we were so proud of what we made. And similar to Bright Star, by the end of a performance, I think it was a big cast, and we all gave a lot of ourselves. Yeah. And by the end of every performance, we could feel the audience come with us.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Joaquina's 11 o'clock was
oh my gosh. And we got to be on stage for it every night.
It was the first time I guess this happens. It happens every now and then. It was the first time I've ever seen a standing O in the middle of a show.
Oh yeah,
I'd never experienced that before, and it was the first time, and I wouldn't see it in previews because our good friend John Dawsett was in.
Oh, my dressing room mate.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and we love him and Michelle. They're both really good friends. Yes, okay. Michelle's Wagner. Yes, and she's become a mentor for us, and I call her the godmother of this podcast.
Yeah,
she was our first guest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I always text her whenever we have anybody on. I'm like, I text her and John, and I'm like, hey, what should I ask? You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But we had gone to see him in previews, and first of all, I really loved Paradise Square. Like, for what it's worth, for me, that was probably my favorite musical of that season.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you guys were coming
so
back.
Proud of it. Yeah.
Well, you guys were coming back during. I wanted to ask you about this because you guys were coming back during the first official Broadway season.
Yeah.
And what I was going to ask in this regard, did you feel the energy from? Because what I remember during that time in general, that whole year of the September 21 to September 22, at least, if not longer, was I just remember feeling grateful to be back in a theater. And if I'm being completely honest, like, and I've said this before, is like, I wasn't even being as critical or as, oh, what is this? I was just happy to be back in a theater. And that moment of standing O, I remember so vividly because it felt so communal. Yeah. And it felt like something that we hadn't experienced in a really, really long time. Yeah. On this original Broadway piece that was like
no source material to pull
and
from.
It was exciting. Like, there was something about the choreo was exciting, and you guys were all exciting, and you were giving. You know what I mean? You all were giving blood, sweat, and tears to that. You know. And I was just gonna ask you how much you felt that energy reciprocated back. From
it was
the
only way we could get through. It was the only way. It was live theater, and like I agree, there was. Probably could only get to that spectacular place because of having been denied it for so long.
Right.
But I agree, it was different than before pandemic times too. There was something. It felt that way with Bright Star in a much more gentle way, where we were like all together and kind of like crying together.
Yeah.
This Paradise Square felt like us and the audience, like just defiant, ready to stand, like ready. Visceral. Yeah. The word electric is all I can think of because it has like, it's dangerous, but it's positive. Right. Yes, we felt that every night. We felt you come with us. We knew that our energy would be matched by your energy. We never had a performance where it felt like, sometimes a performance can feel like carrying something heavy uphill.
Yeah.
No, there would have been no way to do that show the way we did it without that energy coming back, like refilling our sails. Yes, Joaquina, but man, right before, when she was announced, I was working with Chris Jackson, and he said, because they did, what did they do together? They did a show together, and he was like, ooh, eat your Wheaties.
Really?
She's like, she's an incredible scene partner, but she's not going to wait for you. And I was like, okay, man.
And this was her, this was her moment.
Well, and it became like, that role was it was clearer and clearer that role was going to be the central character. Mm-hmm. And what she did, it just like with that stage time that she had, with
Really
those
moving
words that
and
she had,
powerful.
with those songs
and
that
she
she
won
had.
a freaking Tony
Yeah,
for
man.
it. You know what I mean? Like
That was the other. I was because I was in the room when she won, right?
Right.
And I was like, it was a younger brother moment. Her name was called, and I was like on my feet, jumping and screaming, and I didn't know how I got there.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god, that was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, we should also mention because I almost forget because our friend Aiden was the assistant company manager.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also been a guest on the show
Oh man,
too.
I bet he had a
Yeah, he's
crazier
on-
time than I did.
Yes, that's true. And he's on Just in Time right now with Michelle.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
Okay, fun.
Yeah. But I also want to mention that because that was another reason why I got to see the show and why I wanted to see the show. There was something else. Oh, and then on top of it, you got your first Tony nomination.
Crazy.
Like
Yeah.
how incredible. Like what I really what I want to talk about with the Tonys and stuff is like all of the press and the hustle balls. I mean, you guys were already doing, I think, significantly more press than say, I mean, look at like MJ or Six that are
Sure,
still
yeah.
on from that
Yeah,
time
yeah.
because they're those.
We had to,
I mean,
yeah.
Six is a little different, but like MJ is selling itself based
Yeah.
on MJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
People are like, what is this? Yeah.
Yes, and then Billy Crystal was doing his own
Yes,
press
yeah,
for his
yeah.
show at the time, and like, but you guys were doing a whole different type of thing, trying to sell a whole different type of product.
Yes.
I was gonna ask you in terms of because you guys did get a fair amount of Tony noms. I think it was something like 7 or something
Yeah.
like that. I was gonna ask you what that was like from the press aspect of the Tonys and being nominated, and then kind of like being in the room with all of these people,
Yeah.
and then also pitching your show.
Well, it's a wild thing because we needed a lot of press because we weren't selling number wise. Like our audiences weren't very high.
Sure.
As opposed to Bright Star.
And everything was different because of COVID in general.
And everything was different because of COVID in general. And we were cash strapped. So like we didn't have money to do Good Morning America. Like we didn't have like they, Garth by whatever way, it's kind of probably one of the reasons the cast album hasn't been able to come out.
I was gonna say,
Got us on the Tonys. That's very expensive.
is that right?
And we had the biggest sales bump of the evening on the Tonys. It still wasn't enough for us, but like it was worth the investment. But every person on the Tonys gets a week's salary, and then you have to pay the broadcast. It's because it's
What?
advertisement time.
But is that the case with the Good Morning America and the Today Show stuff too?
I don't think it's your Broadway week salary for Good Morning America and that stuff. There is a fee. Yeah, because
I
it's
didn't
SAG
realize that.
contracts. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that the company pays to be on these shows.
Yeah. That's why it's tough. That's why Hamilton can come back and do 5 more performances 10
Right.
years later.
Right.
Because they've got the money for it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's wild.
And the other thing I also just assumed that if you were nominated for the show, they'd want to showcase that show, so you wouldn't. But that's
I mean,
because you guys were
people-
nominated for Best Musical.
yeah, we nominated for Best Musical. I think, there are ways to make it happen.
Yeah.
I don't think people are like exclusive or exclusionary about it, but it's very expensive.
Wow.
Even as a nominee, just like there are a certain number of events you have to go to, and you have to have a different suit for every one. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. So what was
it's
that like?
expensive. It's
What was
hard.
that like?
It's work. It's really fun. It's work. You feel a part of the community.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's a very bizarre thing for me though. Just feeling like you feel the theater community so strongly, and it's so wonderful and it's so nice. But having done so much more regional theater than Broadway theater, like couldn't turn off my awareness of like how many incredible actors I've worked with that have never experienced that and like aren't invited. And then when you're a nominee, there's still another room you're not allowed to go in unless you win. There's like another press junket room.
Right.
And it's like, oh, this is very hierarchical and like exclusive.
Yeah.
In a setting with the most open, welcoming community feelings on top of it. It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
It's very
yeah.
bizarre.
Because it feels like the setting of that hierarchical energy is not coming from this theater
it's
community.
just like
coming
where
from
we
the
are. Yeah,
powers
it's
above,
just like the structures, how it exists.
Right.
And and typically, this isn't always the case, but typically if you're nominated for a Tony, you've probably been nominated for other stuff beforehand. So there are all sorts of other events you have to go to. With other
Oh yes,
students.
right, Drama Desk.
Yeah, Drama Desk.
And you guys got the cheetah stuff. And
Yeah. So like there's more clothes you have to find. And, like,
and stylists you have to
but
hire.
In a season, it's kind of the same people at all the things. So that's very fun to get to know those
Yeah.
people.
Right.
Like I got to know Jared Grimes a little bit, and he's just like the best.
Remarkable. What
The
a
best,
remarkable
like,
performer. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't know if I would have known him otherwise.
Right.
And yeah, it's a really wild thing, and it was totally unexpected because our reviews were like, middling, and my reviews in particular. I don't read reviews, but I was working with a publicist, just because I knew it was an opportunity.
Yeah.
And after the reviews came out, she was like, probably like, we'll get you through opening and we'll get some like events and stuff like that, but probably nothing more is going to happen because most of what my reviews said that I kicked high. That was basically it. They're like the high kick in AJ Shively, and I was like, okay, well,
Interesting.
It's like, oh, I'm trying really hard over here.
Right.
It's like I
right.
do stretch a lot, but I also did a lot of like
Well,
background work.
What
on
would
my
the publicist?
acting.
But what would the publicist? What was the publicist like? Why did you hire the publicist? What was the publicist's job exactly?
Well, I knew the show was really big.
Yeah.
And I knew that Joaquina was going to be where they spent their resources.
Right.
So I hired the publicist to just like interviews and little events.
Sure.
And just to like,
Boost
it's an
some
opportunity
traction.
to, it's basically a networking opportunity.
Yeah.
Like the work comes from work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's that weird catch-22.
Yeah.
And so I figured the more people I met, the more higher in people's minds I would be if other things happened to come out. And it was just an investment I put into myself. And luckily for me, while we were recording our cast album, which the company ran out of money, so couldn't finish paying us for it. It's done. It's on Jason Howland's hard drive.
That's crazy.
Like if y'all want to go fund me, you can get that Paradise Square.
I was gonna
album.
say that's been pretty publicized. That's been pretty publicized about what happened
really
with that
good
cast
too.
album. I was gonna say they released some of those songs on
really
Entertainment
good.
Weekly or something.
Yeah.
And that's
sounds really
such a
good.
bizarre thing. And that was a huge. I mean, that's a pretty public lawsuit.
Yeah.
Now that's been settled.
Yes, yeah. All the way to the Supreme Court. Crazy. So while we were recording the cast album, I found out that I was nominated for the Outer Critics Circle, which is like a huge
Sets the
surprise.
precedent. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because that's the first one of the season.
Yeah. And
I was like,
that is a huge award.
Yeah, and my publicist called me and she was like, okay, so maybe let's figure out, and it becomes just like tech and previews. It becomes like long 12-hour days because you're open, but it's award season. So like, as a principal, you don't have to go to understudy rehearsals.
Okay.
But instead of doing understudy rehearsals, you're like doing interviews and press events and going to these like brunches and luncheons and yeah. And like,
did you enjoy that?
I did. It was exhausting. I met so many cool.
I was gonna say
people.
it sounds really exciting if I'm being honest.
Like, like I got to chat with Marla Mandel for a really long time and be like, listen, we don't know each other, but we're around the same year in school, and I like saw all of the crazy videos you made when you were at CCM and I was at Michigan. And I've been a fan of yours since I was like 19.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I got to see, it's in the community aspect. I can't explain it. It's just I got to meet so many cool people, and it's exhausting and incredibly fun, and it's cool to like do your show. I don't know, you just feel good about yourself.
But there's something to that, and you also had a really your category was also really stacked. Because you were in leading actor in a musical, right? Featured actor in a musical.
Yeah,
but it's still
like Matt Doyle won for a company, and
crazy.
It was who else was it? It was the category was insane.
Chris Fitzgerald, I think. No,
not that year. Although Chris Fitzgerald won the drama desk over for me when I was nominated for Bright Star.
Oh, is that right? For Waitress.
For Waitress. Yeah.
Wow, that's funny, isn't it? Right, because Hamilton wasn't eligible in all of those off-Broadway awards.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man. That was another one. Like Chris Fitzgerald. I was like, oh my God, it's him.
Yeah, it's true.
I was like, I can't believe my name is being associated with his name. It's wild. And that's the thing. And then you meet these people and they're like, hi.
Yeah.
And you're like, ah.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's funny though.
Yeah, it's wild though. It's wild. It's very, very draining.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's better to open in the spring where you go like tech previews award season and it just never stops, or to open in fall where you tech preview and then you have like holiday schedules and then maybe like a couple weeks before
it gets busy.
Award season starts.
Yeah.
But man, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It costs a lot in your like personal relationships because you have no time.
Right.
And the little time you do have, you just want to like be alone and shut down.
Right.
And it's like another job.
Right. Right.
But an enjoyable one.
Yeah, and I will say, for what it seems like, and from John's vantage point, and from that, even though there was a lot of tumultuous, bumpy in the way that it ended too, and with this cast recording and with everything with Garth, like even though that this had, and for those who don't know, I guess I should mention, like what wound up happening was the show wound up closing, but Garth had a tumultuous past already. He was the producer of the show, and he wound up being, I guess, banned from Equity in certain respects, and there's a lot of other lawsuits and things that came out of it, and that's why there's no cast recording. But it seems as if you guys remained this core, and there was something about that still trudged the show.
Oh yeah,
pushed the show forward.
Absolutely, it's what we were talking about that I think made it enjoyable, and like. We were all on stage most of the show, so like I got to be a spectator for a lot.
Right.
And like the show was good.
Right.
Like the stuff I wasn't in, I was like,
thought
oh
so.
my God.
Yeah. No, I certainly thought so. There are moments in that show that I won't forget. The choreo in that show in particular,
insane,
I thought
right?
Was so
yeah,
I thought it was so strong, and frankly, unlike anything I'd ever seen before.
And
all the Irish stuff, I never actually. You see it in like I guess like the Riverdance stuff and things like that, but not in a book
style.
show like this.
It's that they Hammer Step is the dance group they have, and it's kind of like it's Irish dance, but it's like colloquial Irish dance almost combined with contemporary, almost hip hop feel. Like Jason has this awesome video. Jason Aramis has this awesome video of him beatboxing to the rhythm of his taps. It's just
cool.
It's so cool.
That's so cool.
But that was what we were talking about earlier about you have the idea, and it's only your brain. One of the things Bill T would do, it'd be like, what do you have? Show me what you got. So like the dancer solos, that was all them.
Oh,
and
sick.
when an understudy went
so
on,
cool.
It was them. It wasn't the solo. It was them.
Oh
it was like,
man, that
right?
is so.
This is why actors should like share in profits because we do that.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And it just Jason Howland allowed everyone to sing like they sing, no matter who was on for what role. Right. Moises Kaufman is like he's like master of table work, and like just anyone's thought is fair game.
Yeah.
Like it was a show. The reason I think it was so palpable is because we had a lot of people on that stage, cast of 40. We had a lot of people on that.
I didn't even realize
very
that.
expensive show.
That is wow.
But each one of those persons on that stage was a critical thinker, an available human, and like hard worker.
Yeah.
And we all did it. We all brought it. Even when you felt like you couldn't bring it, the energy of everyone else somehow knocked you into that high gear. There was never a B show. Even if you felt like I need to give a B show, the show just happened. Like, and
I think what you're saying is like all of you working together in that moment is really what
the energy is real.
Yeah.
The energy is real. It was palpable. An incredible, palpable. Yes, electric. It was such an incredible experience.
That's awesome.
Probably will never do anything like that again. I've retired from dancing. My body hurts so bad.
You were doing a lot of stuff, man.
I know.
Like that, there was a lot in there, and like I said, it resonates with me.
I remember there was one day we were doing a rehearsal. This was it? Maybe it was right when we came back from Chicago, so it was before we started in New York, or maybe it was a put-in during New York or something. That was the other thing is we had a lot of put-ins and stuff during the awards season, so.
Okay.
We never got a break because we had injuries and we had set malfunctions. And
gotcha.
So every day it was like, okay, let's come in. We got to do this split track, or like, let's come in. This piece isn't moving, so we got to redo this. And so we were in early. Like we rehearsed the max amount of hours every week.
Okay.
On top of everything. Usually after you open, you get a little bit of a rest.
Yeah.
Not for us. Which is why we all got sick after the Tonys because our bodies were just like, we're done.
Oh, sure.
But there was a day where we were rehearsing. And I did my big front click, the one that was the only thing people mentioned in the reviews. And I wasn't wearing my costume, which is like wool trousers, and I would also wear compression tights underneath to like help with recovery.
Yeah.
And I was just wearing gym shorts, and I felt my leg bounced off my chest, and like. I stopped and I was like, that felt so weird. And one of our dance captain swings came over and she had been a Rockette and she was like, you're okay. You just kicked your face. She was like, that's actually like, she was like, it's because your pants are heavy and you are used to using that much exertion. She was like, you can knock the wind out of yourself. I was like, I never want to do that again. I thought I broke my leg.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
did I just tear my hamstring?
What was that like flexibility wise? Like, how did you get to be that flexible?
I did the splits. I did jump splits every day. Like,
Right.
yeah, I warmed up. I would do. Our theater was really small, so I would warm up at a gym nearby. But I would get to the theater like an hour before and physically warm up for a half hour before half hour.
Oh my God.
It was hard.
Yeah, that is hard. That is hard.
Lots
Gosh.
of PT.
Yeah, yeah.
I had plantar fasciitis in both feet. I was also lucky. I knew a girl from when I was in New York as a child who was a principal dancer at New York City Ballet.
Oh, sure.
Sterling Hiltine. She's amazing. She's
Yeah.
retired since, but she saw an interview that I had done, and she texted me and she was like, "Hey, how you doing? The show looks great. How's your eating?" And I was like, "It's hard." And she was like, "Yeah, I just saw this interview, and you're like looking very lean." And she gave me all these tips about like timing meals, because as a ballet dancer, you can't eat heavy before you dance.
No.
I made one mistake. I had a Chipotle between shows one day, and it was like trying to come up the whole second show, and I was like, that was a mistake, right? And she was giving me all sorts of incredible tips about like in the morning, if your feet hurt, do these exercises before you get out of bed.
Oh, wow.
I was really lucky.
What was that? Actually, I want to ask about that because I have this. So I always tell the stories. Like, I decided when I was doing In the Heights a couple years ago, actually, it was right around the same time as Paradise Square.
Yeah.
I was doing In the Heights and I made a bad decision to eat a friend, one of the people who were in the show. She decided to make meatloaf for everyone and like,
Oh, no.
you know, and it was like so sweet. However, that was not the best thing for me to eat before doing that much of an aerobic show, a meatloaf. Because of that, I can't eat before shows. I have to have eaten at least 3 hours before.
Oh, that's longer than I need. But
Yeah,
like, yes.
it's
because
just
the
like,
body gets worried about it, and then it's worse next time.
Yeah, exactly. Or even like, listen, it sounds bad, but this is just what we were doing. We had Domino's pizza in the green room, like. It's terrible, but because you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, between 96,000 and intermission, let me
I'll have
just
a
have
slice.
I'll have a slice.
And then all of a sudden you have like cheese sweats, and you're like, oh my god.
Exactly that, and you're going like, oh my gosh, I feel so heavy right now. Talk to me about that, exactly that, about timing your meals. Like, what did you do?
I mean, it's much more important in a dance show than anything. So like Paradise Square is the danciest I have ever done and will ever do.
Sure.
And it's difficult. So I would have, I'm trying to remember which brand. I would do, in my water bottle, I would do Liquid IV, just for the electrolytes.
Sure.
But there were, no, I couldn't do Liquid IV because it coated my throat in a way that made it harder to sing high. So I had to do Noom tablets.
Oh, what is that?
It's there's slightly less glycerin in it.
Okay.
Because my instrument runs more, I don't know, the way I run, like, dairy's fine for me, but, like, certain things that are good, like, Ricola is bad for me.
I've experienced that too. But glycerin tends to be
like the thing, and like
to be a good thing.
But like Liquid IV, which works for most everybody else, made me like hawk loogies, and I was like, oh, I can't do that.
Interesting.
So Noom tablets, which are basically the same thing, you just like, it's like little fizzy tablets.
Sure.
It's like Alka-Seltzer, but electrolytes. I would, in my water bottle, and I would have a protein bar at half hour, another one at intermission, and then I would have my meal after the show. On a 2-show day, I would do something light-ish, like a poke bowl, or like
that's actually perfect.
A heavy salad,
that's filling
basically.
enough.
Yeah, like as soon after the matinee as possible to let it digest.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like in the Heights hip hop, that's a lot of down, that's a lot of like crunch, but Irish dancing is just hopping, and like hopping with a full stomach.
That stuff is, yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
And then after the show, just like a big old meal.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I had to do. That's the thing that I had to realize. I mean, we're talking
then you
about
can't sleep.
we're talking about the nitty gritty here right
Yeah.
now, but I think it's important because it really does hold true. It's like exactly, you can't sleep because we would finish a show at 8:00. We would start the show at 8:00. We would finish around 11, and then I would need to have like a huge bowl of pasta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something
Cheeseburger or something.
Yes, because it needed to be something hefty, but I couldn't go to sleep until X, Y, and Z time later because then I would feel it in the morning. You know, so it's like it is really specific, and you walk out of that show, especially for me, because I would like if the show was at 8, I would try not to eat after 5. It was like something.
do it.
It was like you get to a point by the time 11 o'clock hits, and you're starving.
Yeah.
You know, so it's definitely a balance. It's a really important one too because it's Anyway.
Well, and like you figure everything out. Like this kind of red wine makes my muscles sore, but this kind of white wine doesn't. And
Weird.
Like I can't drink beer. Well, I can drink certain kinds of beer.
Yeah.
But it's similar to the liquid IV. Like it just some kinds like knock my voice out. I can't even have one, and I'm like the next day I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
And like you just gotta kind of trial and error.
Yeah.
The nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
For me, it's meat. Like that is the thing.
Yeah.
Burgers and all that stuff. Like it just makes me feel really bloated, and then it makes me feel like I can't move. And
Yeah.
I feel constricted. You know what I mean? In my own.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know. Anyway, that's I just thought that was an
red meat
interesting
for sure.
thing.
I don't
and
think
it's
I could do red meat before. the
Yeah,
show.
no, yeah. Let's talk about Man of No Importance
I love
because
that.
that was the same year, and what a special thing because Man of No Importance, actually, funny enough, right around the time that you guys did it, a year before, we were supposed to do it in college, and Michelle was supposed to direct it, actually. Yeah, and so I got to know it over the pandemic, and I was like, this is such a beautiful little show that it feels like this little engine that could. It's Aaron's and Flaherty, but it feels like nobody knows it, and
everyone knows the one song, right?
Yeah, and Aaron's and Flaherty, for every ragtime that they have, there's a Lucky Stiff. You know what I mean? Like that, and this is definitely more in the Lucky Stiff where like people who know it love it, and like who know it, but it never really made it further than. But Jim Parsons,
wanted to, we tried.
yeah, and Jim Parsons being in it, I think, was a huge like fueling factor for people where they were like, "What is this?" And he's doing a musical. What is this? You know. Talk to me about how it came to you.
I again had one audition. I went in. The whole team was there. I was really lucky, and a friend of mine was the reader, so I just felt like super comfortable.
Yeah, it's great.
In
the room.
In the room.
Yeah.
I was just like, great. Like,
That's awesome.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
I did the scene. I did Streets of Dublin.
Yeah.
I screamed the A and didn't crack and didn't sound pretty, but like it came out.
Which is not a super easy song to sing.
Yeah, I mean it's I did the whole song for the audition. They wanted the whole song. It's a long song.
Yeah.
Because they want you can do the A is hard anyway, but like doing the whole song in a certain part of your voice and then popping up is really hard.
And even just the chorus in and of itself. Yeah, it moves a lot.
And my agent called me like 20 minutes later and he was like, "You got an offer. I've never had it this fast." But I was the last person of the day.
Wow.
And John Doyle liked me. Like, again, it's just like, that's kind of been my career, is like, it either works out or like it doesn't. It really works out or it's just not going to happen.
Wow.
And he was just such a delight to work with.
Yeah.
But something I do want to say about that audition, the reason I only came in once again at the final callback is I'm a little older than Robbie is on the page, and I wasn't called in. And Stephen Flaherty saw Paradise Square, and he was like, "Well, why haven't we seen that guy?"
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Those types of stories are just like...
And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And they met with me, Flaherty and Aaron's. This is crazy. I can't believe this happened. Like, Ragtime's my favorite, guys. Like, Garth Drabinsky, who produced Paradise Square, produced Ragtime, Parade.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Fosse.
Wow.
It's like these incredible formative, just like Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Wow.
Like, so I'm in a room, I'm cast, and a few weeks later I'm in a room with Flaherty and Aaron's, and we're just going through this song. And they're like, "Do you want to try it down a step?" And I was like, "Yeah." Well, no, I was stubborn. I was like, "No, I can do it."
Oh, sure.
And
sure.
they're like, they ended up taking it down a step for me. And they're like, "This is the key we wrote it in. It just sat better
in Steven's
voice.
Stephen Pasquale, who originated it.
Yeah. And again, and now everyone thinks that's what you have to do. And that's not even the key they wrote it in.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
So
Theater is much more
crazy.
flexible.
Yeah, than people let on.
People, yeah, like.
Wow.
Like you said, the other productions of the regional or high school are going to be like, "No, I have to hit these."
You got to hit the A.
Yeah. No, take it down a step. Like, I mean, don't take it down a fourth. It has to feel, my G feels like Stephen Pasquale's A, like in my voice, because I'm a baritone. And so they want the exciting feel. They don't care about the wavelength of the pitch.
Note. Yeah.
They want the feel.
Yeah.
And like, they don't want me trying to sing the A because it sounds like a character at the end of his limit, which is not this character at all.
Right.
This is a guy just like sliding through. And I just like, again, like even after everything I've said, my whole career of learning, I was like stubborn in that room and I was like, "No, I'm going to hit the A. I got it. It's like, we don't have to be perfect little musical theater machines. The writers don't care.
Yeah. It's a good point. Talk to me about working with John Doyle, because talk about like a legendary director. Like it feels like everything he does is so intentional and very carefully picked.
Yes.
You know.
Well, first I have to do a little plug for John because he has a memoir coming out.
Oh, is that right?
It's available for pre-order, and the title is escaping me right now. But if you just look up
I did
John Doyle
not know
memoir pre-order, I don't know if it's good because I haven't read it yet, but his brain is amazing, so I'm sure it's incredible.
Yeah. I would love to reach out to him to have him on to
discuss
discuss that.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's up in Scotland, like living out his life.
God bless. That's incredible.
He was the best. He calls himself, everyone's like, oh, he strips down productions. He's like, I don't strip productions. I'm an essentialist. And so he would do things like, I just did a job with Adriana Hicks, who did his Color Purple.
Oh.
And it was the same thing. Like, we started with a bunch of props and stuff, and then just one by one, he'd come in and he'd be like, you don't need that. And he'd take it away. And our show, we had instruments. And I remember there was one day, Mary Winningham has to come in holding spaghetti. Mm-hmm. And so we were miming the spaghetti, like that was always the plan, but she had like a plate and forks and stuff. And he came and he grabbed the plate from her hand and he handed it a tambourine to her. And he was like, if it rattles, you've spilled the spaghetti. And like, so the tambourine became the plate of spaghetti.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
And like, in that show, I played an Irish drum, a cajon.
Oh, cool.
And the first day, there were 4 people, I believe, hired to be musicians to like really play the score. And they were all playing like multiple instruments, like accordions and violins and trumpets and like incredibly talented cast.
Yeah.
And the rest of us, they had a bunch of percussion instruments and like easy to play instruments lined up the first day, and they were like, pick something.
Yeah.
And the cajon was face down and the back of it has a bunch of spokes on it. And I was like, I'm the bus driver. That looks like a bus wheel. And so I picked it up and it became the bus wheel. Like,
how cool is that?
And that's just John.
Yeah.
He's so from the back. It's what we were talking about, blending head and heart, because he knows exactly what he wants.
Right.
He knows the story. He knows the details. He's hired you because whatever your thing was matched what his idea was. So you are hired, you are booked because you were the option.
Right.
You brought your option and you were the one, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so rehearsals feel easy because it's just what your instincts are, right? You bring your idea.
Yeah, that's special.
This was Nate Stampley and I had both done Paradise Square and both did Man of No Importance.
Oh, cool.
Excuse me. And we were remarking that both of us had kind of roles that came and went through the piece. We were all on stage the whole show.
Oh, wow.
Which was great because we were all playing. So like if you weren't in the scene, you'd be underscoring and stuff like that. And at the end of rehearsal one day, Nate and I, we were walking to the subway, and I was like, Nate, we didn't get used at all today. He was like, yeah, and we didn't get used at all yesterday either. And it was 2 of my favorite days of rehearsal because it's just, it was like masterclass.
Right.
You just got to watch these brilliant actors work with this brilliant director, finding the piece,
right,
finding the essence of the story, like watching a scene and being like, it's good, I'm not sure why, I'm not quite like attached to it. And John would come in and he would cut like 4 words from the whole dialogue, like cut this 1 word here and these 2 words here, and then all of a sudden you're like
activated.
Yeah, it was it was incredible.
And I think that speaks even more volumes toward like his essentialist method in this piece,
yes,
right? Because it spans across a lot of the stuff he's done, but in this piece, because the whole thing is about a community theater.
Yes.
You know, it's about a community theater and a man who loves doing community theater and finds himself in a different way through that.
Yes.
You know, and so it's interesting that, because I think that essence is crucial.
Well, and he made some big cuts too, and all of his big cuts, he was like, I'm taking out anything that laughs at community theater because that belies what this
the nature
piece
of
is.
this piece. Yeah.
Like, these people aren't bad at community theater. Like, we can't laugh at them for being not perfect, for being untalented. No. They're doing it. Their love is pure.
Right.
So let's heighten that. And it was really sweet. And that was another one we didn't do the cast recording because we were slated to go to Broadway the next season.
I was gonna say.
And just like right before tickets went on sale, some of the deals fell apart. We were supposed to be at Circle in the Square, which, if you noticed, sat empty for like 9 months.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And like the deals fell apart, and like
That is insane. I knew that there was rumors about it
Yeah,
coming. I
no,
didn't
we
realize
had
that
the
it was
theater-
all but official.
yeah, the tickets were about to go on sale.
Holy
Yeah,
crap.
it was really sad.
Well, another big reason, but you guys were selling. Another big reason why I didn't get the chance to see it is because you guys were selling so well.
Well, yeah, and all of us, we were like, don't worry. Oh, don't feel bad. It's okay. You can see it soon, right? Because it was the plan. And like, I don't know, one of the first things when I was cast in La Cage, another thing my agent said, in addition to don't buy an apartment, was just, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And they're like, just wait till the marquee's up. And even then, when the marquee goes up, sometimes the show still doesn't
don't
happen.
know. Yeah.
Like Nerds, right? That marquee was up.
Crazy.
Do you remember that?
Nerds? No, I don't.
It was there was a musical called Nerds about like very, very, very funny musical about Steve Jobs and
wow. Where was that?
Microsoft.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. Thank you. It was at the Longacre, I think.
Wow. Yes, I do
The
remember
Short
that
Acre.
now that you're saying that.
Yeah, and they, in their first week of rehearsal, maybe, it turned out one of their major investors either pulled out or didn't
Look
have
at
the
Room.
funds. Exactly the
Room-
same. Yes,
Room was
yeah.
a year ago or so.
Yeah.
And look at, I mean, this was COVID, but Sing Street, which
Sing
still
Street.
hasn't come.
That makes me sad.
I know.
I
I'm like,
love
that show I
movie.
need here, but it's in the West End right now, or
Yeah,
what just
yeah,
was,
yeah,
and
yeah.
hopefully that'll give it some backing. But gosh, you're so right. These things
Yeah.
just like really are so fickle.
Yeah.
Like it's like.
Well, and that's
crazy.
the thing, you know, everybody, it's this is hard for me to say because it happened so fast for me, but to make your Broadway debut is such a big, like,
Yeah.
life goals thing.
Yeah.
And once it happens, it's just like, the best thing about it is you get to live at home and you can afford to. Like,
Yeah.
the other stuff, it's like it's doing a play. Everyone's really talented, but that's true in regional theater as well. Like,
Of course.
Like, and like the commercial aspect, the like business aspect is really the main difference.
Yeah.
And you gotta like,
Because it seems
be
like it's
smart.
strangely, even if subconsciously felt.
yeah. Well, you gotta, you know, when shows close and people in the cast are surprised, I'm like, well, were you reading your grosses? Like,
Yeah.
you gotta like,
You have to do that.
you got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That was one of the things at Paradise Square. John Dossett and I, we would come in every day and we'd be like every Tuesday, we'd be like, how are we here? Like, did you see our grosses last week? like we'd come with the call board and be like, I'd sign in and there's like no closing notice. And I'd be like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's such a crazy.
Isn't that
That's that is funny. And John is very much a realist in that.
I know,
regard,
both
too,
of us were
so-
like, what the heck?
Yeah. That's really funny.
Well, and then but there'd be people in the ensemble being like, no, don't be such a pessimist. And I'm like, guys, we lost $300,000 this week. Literally.
Oh my gosh.
Our Tony bump was huge. Got us from losing like $200,000 a week to losing $50,000 a week. That's
Wow.
huge. Losing $50,000 a week, like,
It's still losing
that's crazy.
$50,000 a
That's
week.
worse
That's-
than any week of Bright Star.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. See, it's so bizarre, isn't it? Because you look at things like I even think about if you look at it in like when you think about TV comparison and how much
Yeah.
that has changed. You look at something where I'm like, I don't know, the shows right now are being run on broadcast television with like, if a show has like 5 million views right now on broadcast television, that's like amazing.
yeah.
10 years ago, 20 years ago, canceled in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's just funny because the biggest shows out right now, you look at something like Stranger Things, they're reaching something like 34 million
Which is
people.
wild.
So that's why it's funny that some of these broadcast shows are existing based on like, you know,
The littlest,
these-
well, because it's all about ad sales.
yeah,
At the end of the
yeah,
day.
which is a very similar thing here. It's just in a different regard.
Yeah.
There are shows that I'm like, I can't believe that's still sustaining itself.
Yeah.
But sometimes, if you look at, I mean, we always bring it up, but it's because it's the prime example. Maybe Happy Ending is the perfect example of a show that was grossing 400 in its first couple weeks, and had their producers not been more, you know,
Stick to it.
yeah, and had they not, they believed in the show,
And they were probably close.
yeah,
Like-
I'm sure. But they believed in the show enough that now they're doing incredible numbers, and
Yeah.
good for them for really, you know, sticking through it, you know.
Well, you know,
And sometimes you can't.
that's the thing about Garth is like with Paradise Square, we should not have been running at those rates. But if he had not kept us open, that award season wouldn't have happened for me. Like, because people would have. He said later in one of the court, or in an interview about one of the cases, that he should have closed the show after opening because our opening night party was a super spreader event, and we were shut down for the next almost 2 weeks.
Wow.
And that's actually where the cast album money went, was to keep us open for those 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then we didn't make enough profit to actually fund the cast album, and it was too late to like cancel the recording because it like
Yes,
with
of course.
deposits and everything,
Of
it
course.
was already paid for. Like
How bizarre.
Yeah.
Because if you would have opened this year, that wouldn't be an issue at all.
oh yeah,
Those,
No.
those are all those things just become
yeah,
moot, you know?
it would have been a completely different thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a wild the what ifs. But like, if you're close, you can see. And then like Lacage, there was, I don't know exactly what the story is, but there was some kind of disagreement between some of the producers. And I remember our first week we didn't turn a profit. We got our notice the next week. And at our closing night party, one of our producers was like, "Don't know why we're closing."
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's wild.
Are you guys made aware of your weekly costs?
No. And I think that needs to change.
I was gonna say that's
something,
because that's
if
a
you
big.
know your company, man. I don't know if you talk to Aiden, like
Yeah.
like maybe there's
Another
sound
side of it.
reasoning for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But that it would just help so much for everyone to be aware.
Yeah.
I always try and make friends with both the house manager and company management, like you see all the time. So like, you always make friends. But I always try and make friends with everybody. And like, I don't need a specific number, but like, can you tell me if we were close?
Right. Where were you interested? Yeah.
And it just helps me. I guess I don't like knowing when people are in the audience, and that affects other people. Like, it affects my performance to know that like somebody I admire is there. I
Yeah.
don't feel like I can do my same show. I
Oh,
don't
that's
like to know
interesting.
what the reviews say, good or bad, because I feel like that affects my performance.
Interesting.
But like, I want to know if our ticket sales are meeting our costs. Like, that helps me relax.
Yeah. That's an interesting point.
And I think
And I
I'm
think
sure
that was
there are some
something-
people who don't want to know.
And in a way, if
Yeah.
the information was given, they don't have to know.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
very easy to not know something, but to know something is much
And I think
different.
it's probably like a privileged information kind of a thing where they don't want that number getting out to other shows, like, because then a competitor
Yeah.
show could come in and be like, we want the space, and they're
Yeah.
not doing it.
I mean, I think people can tend to guesstimate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those things, it feels like those that I feel like at this rate, you could watch a show and be like, that probably is blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And then you look at the weekly ghosts and you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of assume, and you're not that far off.
Yeah.
And also in the same breath,
knowing.
some people's contracts are
Crazy.
I was going to say, some people's contracts are dependent on that weekly cost.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Some people
Yes.
now the contracts have shifted so that you're not just making a salary, your
getting
money
a-
is
yeah.
dependent on that weekly cost. But if
Yeah.
you don't know what that money is, then
Yeah.
there's a huge discrepancy there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and I think that was something that Equity was trying to fight for within this last pass at negotiations.
yes, I don't think they got that one.
No, they didn't. But it was just I think there was
you know
something that
what?
they were looking
They're
for.
going to keep paying understudies to go on, so that's good.
Yes, that is true.
Can you believe that they?
I mean, and even little things like
it's so tough.
we don't get the slips anymore, right? That's
Right,
something that
right,
they
right.
lost out on, is that now, which I can't, listen, I can't imagine that was such a, I don't know, like the idea that you don't get, we talked about it actually with Mary
insert,
Testa, it's
yeah.
like you don't get the insert for whether, if an understudy goes on now, there's no insert in the playbill anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really, I wonder what kind of win that was. I don't know. I don't
Yeah, I don't know.
really
In exchange
understand.
for what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I maybe that cost to put that insert in there is far higher than I thought.
Well,
but
I mean, there's probably. I mean, the paper waste. I don't know the cost. The time.
Yeah.
Putting the inserts in.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
with the amount that people call out compared to how people
Sure,
used to call out, it's very
yeah.
different.
Right, right.
Um,
I mean, getting
but
rid of the
yeah.
playbill at all was the initial.
Yes, that's crazy.
Getting rid of the playbill is on its last leg right now, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, like really, we're
Yeah.
looking at a future of digital playbills, and a
Yeah.
lot of off-Broadway theaters already
Already
do
do
them.
it, yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's just that feels kind of sad. And
Yeah.
I hope that's something that doesn't end up going through, because I really feel like it's an important
Getting
token.
credit.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say it's a token to like history. You
Sure,
know what
yeah.
I mean? On top of like
Man,
the
I
credit.
got rid of all. I moved like a few moves ago. I got rid of all my playbills.
Oh,
'Cause
did
I
you?
just had too many.
Oh, sure.
And now I'm like, oh man, why'd I do that?
Yeah, but
That's like-
it's true. There's something about it it's a token of some sort of history. You go
Yeah.
back into certain playbills. Remember Broadway Flea Market? You go back into
Yeah.
some of these playbills and you're like, oh my gosh, look
This
at this
person was
bio.
understudying this person.
Yes, yeah. Or you'll look at like a Cheetah Rivera bio or like a
Yeah.
Bernadette bio, and it'll be pre Into the
Sunday,
Woods
right?
or
Yeah,
post
yeah.
Sunday. You know, it's things like that
Yeah.
that are like super interesting and
Yeah.
super. You know, they're like tokens of history, or even the little things. I go back in some of my playbills sometimes, and people might not realize this, but at the top of a playbill, there's news articles.
Yeah.
So you'll look back and you'll even be like something like March 2017, and you'll be like, oh, this is what the news was saying about certain things. This is what new show is opening. This is where it was. You know what I mean? And
This is where Brian Darcy James likes to eat dinner between shows.
yeah, something silly like that. But it's true. There's something in there that's very, I think is, I don't know, important. And from a preservation aspect, I think holds some type of weight. But anyway, I hope that's not something that goes, because I think playbills are important.
I think that's something that touches on something else that I always try to do. And it's a habit that I got out of and was reminded to do the last show I did. I always try and research if it's a historic theater, what happened there.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day I went on stage at the Longacre Theater, and that's where Waiting for Lefty happened.
Wow.
And I just went on there and I went, strike, right? And Fred Applegate was like, wait, you know? And I was like, yeah, man. And like, I was reminded too, because I was just doing White Christmas.
Yeah.
Up
at Algonquin.
And we were using a theater, the Music Hall in Newport, Rhode Island, Portsmouth, Rhode Island. And at the Music Hall, on the stage that we were standing on, Irving Berlin had performed in the 1920s. Wow. Like, I'm singing the songs that this man wrote after he had stood on this stage in this theater. And like, that's pretty much every Broadway house has 15 of those stories.
Yeah.
Jen Ashley Tepper wrote some pretty amazing books.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think, what's it called? The Untold Stories of Broadway or something like that. She collected stories from
I didn't know that.
actors and directors and doormen and stagehands. And yeah, it's great,
Oh my
great
gosh,
books.
that's so fascinating.
But these theaters are so full of history, and I think that's something we can do, like looking through the playbills, to slow down and kind of, that's what makes Broadway is the legacy of it. That's the feeling of community within that hierarchy of awards season.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know that that's something that we take time to do as much.
Cherish enough. Yeah.
And to cherish. That's a great word, to cherish.
And I will say, for the record, if you go in some playbills, not all the time,
They
but
say, yeah.
there's a whole page that says
love
at
that.
this theater.
Yes.
And it says at this theater, and it's an entire page designated to the shows, the most notable productions that have happened at the theater that you're in.
And you're like, oh, holy shit, the original production of Oklahoma
was at the St.
like,
James. And you're like,
yeah,
how
like,
did we
oh,
not?
shit.
Hello? Like,
Like,
that's
in this room.
Yeah, it's crazy because the room is, there's still the room. Like,
in
it's
this
very
room.
much, it's a
Sometimes
it's a
in these
bizarro thing.
seats, it feels like.
And you're so right. It is an attribute to the legacy of Broadway, because I'll tell you, like, this is a silly little aside, and I was going to mention it earlier when you talked about the difference between British consumption of art and American consumption of art. It's like, my grandmother, she's Russian and through and through Russian.
Yeah, okay.
And she watches this show, and I want to shout it out. Three Accorda is what it's called, and it's essentially kind of like a competition show, but it's like a Dancing with the Stars. But what it is they take a bunch of stars and have them take. It's such a high concept, I guess, but they have these stars come in and take pop songs and then make them into musical theater productions.
Oh, cool.
And they compete based on who took the number and made it. And it's like kind of like you'll take, I don't know, like there's some songs in there, like let's say, I'm trying to think of, like, let's say it was something that we would look at now, something like this is coming to my head, but like Bad Guy by Billie Eilish. And you would take the words, do whatever you wanted with it, pitch your concept, and then make it into an entire production number about something completely different.
Wow, yeah.
And they all compete and do this thing, right? And it's fascinating to watch, because you're like,
Because that's what you bring. That's your idea.
yes, right.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it, all of this to say, is that the judges at the show will be like, oh my gosh, that looked like Broadway. And they'll say it like that because they hold it to such, they don't say that often, and they hold it to such a high caliber that they're like, that's what that did for me. That's what, because they associate I think we get a little passive because everyone has a friend who's worked on Broadway, and we're auditioning for Broadway all the time, and Broadway's here, and I'm lucky enough that I get to see a Broadway show, 2 Broadway shows a month or something like that, passively. But the idea of Broadway, especially to the world,
Man.
holds so much weight.
Well, and I'm like, you have the Bolshoi.
Yeah,
have
right.
Moscow Art Theater.
Yes,
Oh, what?
Right.
Yeah.
It's true, but it's about honoring that that legacy is
Yes,
really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my spiel
Yeah.
about that.
Well, and it's not just Broadway. Like, there are so many old theaters in New York, around this country.
Yeah.
Like, there's some beautiful new complexes and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
like,
And thank God, like we want that
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah, I don't know. No, it's much
Like,
nicer.
Yeah, like we mentioned Pack NYC.
People that went to like very well-funded high school theater programs and then very well-funded college training programs and then make their Broadway debut are always like, what the heck is this?
Yes, yeah. Where Mary Chestnut was talking about how the all of the not asbestos. That's not
Black
the
mold.
word. But how old these theaters
Yeah,
are.
lead
They
paint.
just paint
Yeah.
over things,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like well, actually, this is actually really bad for us
Yeah.
to be breathing it.
Oh yeah, the legend is I've never worked there, but if you ever work at the Broadway theater, you want to make sure you're in the stage left dressing room tower because you get windows to outside. And everyone who ever has a stage right dressing room, which are usually the principal dressing rooms, you get a sinus infection during tech. Everyone.
Crazy. See, and Mary said that about the Ambassador.
Yeah,
Where it's like it's just an older space.
Yeah.
and especially because that show has been sitting there for a minute too. It's
Yeah,
like
well, yeah, and like theaters don't renovate because
Yeah.
there's always something coming in.
exactly.
Bright Star
yeah.
might have been the last show at the Court before it became the Jones and got its full big like
I
ADA
think there was a
compliance.
bunch of other because the Jones happened over the pandemic.
Oh,
so
oh.
I think there was
But I know they were planning
because
it.
they did King Lear at the Court after that. They did the Minutes,
Oh, the minute. So maybe we were the last musical.
maybe the last musical.
Yeah.
Because then I don't think you're
Because they were
probably right
planning.
about
They
that.
were like, while we were running, they were like, we need to do all these.
And to the point that we were
talking.
talking earlier, even the geography of where the theaters are
Has a big
affect
thing.
ticket
Oh
sales.
yeah, and we had
because that theater's hard.
that
to sell.
theater's hard to sell for everyone, and we had scaffolding in front of our marquee that's hard to see anyway. And our show it wasn't based on anything, and yeah.
But you see it all the time
Yeah.
at now the James Earl Jones, like
Yes.
all of these shows that come in and out, Heart of Rock and Roll.
Liberation's there right now, right?
Liberation
Yeah.
is there right now. Real Women Have Curves, like all these
Yeah.
shows that kind of like it's a harder sell.
Yeah.
It's not impossible.
because it's
a
out of
harder
sight,
sell.
out of mind. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
On
I
South
love that
Avenue.
theater though. It's so fun to play.
And the way they've renovated it now is
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
It's gorgeous. Speaking of theaters that are not Broadway, that are super that hold a huge weight, you get to perform at Carnegie Hall this year.
Oh my
And-
God, yes.
Oh my gosh, with our friend Leroy Reams.
Yes.
I
Hilarious.
could not believe I was like looking at pictures from it, and it just looked like the most
It was so
amazing.
fun.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Again, one of these things where it was like community and like you had to be invited to it, so like exclusive somehow, but like but not it was so much fun. So I've of course seen many things at Carnegie Hall. I'd never been backstage before. It was the way it's set up is right behind stage is a big holding room, green room.
Oh, cool.
And like that cast was crazy.
Yeah.
That cast of
It's
Hello
everyone.
Dolly was crazy.
Yeah.
And everyone just hangs out in that green room and watches everyone else and fanboys and girls out over everyone's performances. And you come
Right.
off stage and everyone's like, woo! And then you watch someone else and you're like, I can't believe they're here. And like to watch like legends geek out over other legends. It's an unbelievable thing. It was so much fun. And
Yeah.
I got to do I did a quartet, and one of the people in my quartet was a classmate of mine from
Oh, really?
Michigan, and we hadn't sung together since our showcase.
Oh,
and like
wow.
yeah, Jessica
That's
Fontana
special.
and yeah, it was total once in a lifetime kind of amazing.
And it was a
fun
one night
thing.
only,
one night only,
yeah.
like just so much fun.
Sold out house, Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
Like, how cool.
The acoustics from that stage are everything that people say they are. Because
Really?
I've seen stuff there. I've been like, yeah, the acoustics are good. On that stage, I was like, oh,
Because it just feels the way it looks is like it's like this like loop.
it's yes, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really special. And I want to mention another space in the same vein because we saw you in Titanic. And talk about another one. Like that's another one that had a
Yes.
bunch of Broadway people that I was like, how are they all in this show right
Insane.
now? And that production, I thought it was our first introduction to the show. We didn't know the show. And
I didn't know all of it. I only knew a couple songs.
Right. And
Gorgeous,
I thought
right?
a lot. I thought it was really gorgeous score. And I thought it was really clever. A lot of it.
Yeah.
And there. I mean, the classic moment about that the table.
Yes.
That-
yeah. On the string.
yeah. But it's so effective.
It was, yeah.
It really is so effective.
And that's a lot cheaper. We were talking about running costs of shows. That's a lot cheaper to do and just as effective as making the whole stage tilt.
Right,
Right. So
right.
if, like running costs are too high. Maybe
Yeah.
Pull the table
Pull
on a
the
string.
table, yeah.
Like, I loved that experience so much for many reasons. Our first day, Annie Kaufman, who's an incredible director, I loved working with her and would love to work with her for more than like an intense 2 weeks. Her first day, she was like, "We are here to honor this score." Maury Yeston was there.
Oh, wow.
Like, I know, like, come on. And she was like, that's why she was like, this is a staged concert. So we're going to hold our books. You don't have to look down, but like, this is about the music. So the staging is going to be simple. We're going to like enter and go to a place and be there. Right. And I thought her lighting design, it was like, or the lighting design that they created was so helpful and specific and like creating space for us. And just you were saying coming back from the pandemic, since the pandemic, the first time the full company of Paradise Square sang together, singing Jason Howland's vocal arrangements, was like, we were all crying. Like, just incredible. And again, a cast of about 40 singing Titanic.
You felt
in
it.
a tiny, you could feel the room shaking.
Yeah.
But what made that process, because everybody was awesome. But we had Eddie and Lily Cooper, and their dad, Chet
and their
Cooper,
dad, yeah,
were all in the cast, that's pretty cool. Anyway, Lily had just given birth.
Oh my gosh!
Somebody had to drop out, like kind of last minute, and Lily saved the day, on the condition that she could bring her baby, like weeks old baby, and so we had 3 generations of this family.
Wow.
With a tiny baby. This baby slept the entire time. Like the sweetest, most well-tempered baby, passing back, like watching grandpa hold baby as mama's like doing that trio. And
unbelievable.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I was like, every show needs a baby. Like, it just made it.
It's like an emotional support baby.
Yeah. It made it like, you could just like see, like, it's a really intense schedule at Encores, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a big deal. There's a baby right there. Like, life is so much bigger than this room and this deadline. Yeah. And it made the work come so much faster. And Annie Kaufman's direction is like what we've been talking about. It was so great. It was like John Doyle, where it's like, it was like Bill T. Jones almost. What do you have? Like, I'm open. What do you got? Let's collaborate.
Right.
And you just do your thing.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that needs attention, she'll like do it again. Right. And if not, just like do your thing. Yeah.
Right. And I'm not sure if you guys knew the kind of social media love that you guys had felt. Well, it feels like a show like Ragtime where everybody is buzzing.
I know everyone
about
was
this
excited
show,
about it.
And when it was announced, people were free. I remember seeing it all over Instagram, and I wasn't on TikTok, but I was seeing TikToks from how excited people were to have this show in a full professional way come back at you, because they knew that between the orchestra and you guys, it was going to be a blow you away kind of thing, and it met that.
I was so surprised, honestly, because I was like, oh, there's not really a part for me in that, and I loved what I got to do, and Emily and I basically just like were cute and crossed the stage several times. Like, we had so much fun. Sure. But the other great thing was there were all these guys in it that I've like spent my whole career befriending in audition rooms, and we've never been able to work together. So it's like me and Drew Gehling and Adam Chandler Barat and Andrew Durand, and like it was like, we get to do the thing. Yeah. Like Brandon Uranowitz, it's like we never get to do the thing
together.
Yeah. And that was really fun.
That is exciting. Yeah. That is really fun. I want to ask you about just these couple little like anecdotes that I want to throw out there, because you've had some pretty cool guest star roles on Julia and on Hunters, which is a show that we loved. Hunters. Oh my gosh. And I guess I want to ask you about like in your how you not pivoted. Pivot is the wrong word, but moving into that space and kind of embodying the work in that space, how people always say it's much more contained and all this stuff, and I guess how you felt it differed, but also from a business level in terms of like how you booked the job too.
Sure. You know? Well, I got booked.
Yes.
Definitely go into your auditions and be like, I'm gonna book this, but like you don't book. Somebody will book you. Right. So yeah, again, like I like theater best. Yeah. I like off-Broadway best because you feel the energy. Like, we felt that energy in Paradise Square. We filled that room, but it cost a lot. Right. like,
And that pressure is there.
and the pressure's there, right? Yeah, yeah. And the kind of like commercial aspect of it is difficult. But like I love like working at Classic Stage was the best because the way the theater's set up, the furthest row from you is like 10. You can make eye contact with everybody if you're doing that kind of a play, but you feel it. It's just so great. And the only way to afford to do that is to do lots of other stuff. Like this year, I did I did a guest star on Chicago Med, and I also did a radio play for Audible.
Oh,
and
very
like,
cool.
These are all it's all acting.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, people talk about film acting versus theater acting. It's no difference. There's a great interview with a younger Ian McKellen from maybe the 80s or early 90s on this topic, where it's just the frame. You just have to think about the frame. So if you're framed for a TV show and it's a close-up of your face, that's what you have to work with to tell your story. So you have an eyebrow, you have your tears falling, you have where your eyes are looking, right? If it's a medium body shot, you might have your hands.
Right.
You have some props, right?
Right.
If you're on stage, the frame is 30 feet above you.
Right. Right.
You have, like, I always think of you know the film I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original one? When she's like, "What are you waiting for, huh?" That's film acting. But the frame is 30 feet outside of her.
Right.
So, like, that's the energy you need to bring to your Broadway show.
That's a really, really
Your frame is
interesting
the
point.
proscenium, you know?
That's an incredibly interesting point.
There's a movie, I don't know if you know The Red Shoes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and that moment,
Yes.
20 minutes, 15 minutes, where it's theater.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
The frame is, for an audiobook, for voiceover, the frame is your voice, your mouth.
I was just gonna say, so I'm in the middle of doing this voiceover gig right now, that I can talk about briefly in the sense that it's been such an eye-opening, beautiful experience because I mean we've been doing this, which is really nice, and there's a video aspect component to this, but
you don't have to give 3 ascending levels of pain.
Oh my gosh, yes, or even that is so true. Is like where I you know they were like, you know, can you celebrate more? And I'm like, okay, oh yeah, and that's like what, and they're like, no, we need even more. It sounds like you're not celebrating enough. Like,
So you gotta like jump.
Yeah, you know, and you're like, you know, woo, you know, things like that. But it's funny because I still tend to do this, and I do think that it works this way. I'm realizing I think it works this way where your physical informs your vocal to the point where when there was one, actually, this is actually a really interesting anecdote where what I was doing, I was dubbing something. And
that's really hard too.
It's hard to do, but what's funny is the character I was dubbing for was coming up from a chair. You know? And I was doing, let's say he says, I don't know what it was, I can't remember now, but let's say it's like, I know what you mean. And so I was doing like I know what you mean. And she was like, we're missing the excerpt, we're missing the effort. And I was like, oh. And so then I put myself in that position and I went, I know what you mean. And all of a sudden that effort is, And so the physical does inform the vocal. Yeah, it's the same thing.
And the other caveat to that I will add is the recording devices. So the recorded mediums, like a voiceover, like anything on camera, go faster than your naked eye can. So any kind of hesitation is picked up. So you have to just do the thing. If you're on camera or if you're on voice, you have to just do the thing. You have to let go of the thinking, which you can get away with in theater.
Yeah.
Because the human mind is a little slower.
You can get away with a lot less.
You can get away.
If someone's right there.
And when people say, oh, that's a theater actor, theater actors can't do on-camera work, it's because the thinking actor is too active. And when we say, like, on-camera actors can't do theater, it's because they're playing to a small frame, or it's because they've lost the overarching event of the night.
That's such an interesting point. Wow. Yeah. It's like I just like got.
But no hesitation.
Yeah.
You can hear it in the voice.
Right. Gosh, that's
like
so cool.
And in theater, if you kind of like hitch a line, if you're like, I went right, nobody cares. You move on.
Right.
On set, right. If you're being filmed for Chicago Med, you're like, I went to you just stop.
And you just take it back. You just take it back. I learned that
cares.
too. I learned that
and
too.
And you're like, what?
This is such a silly little funny.
Flow of the scene.
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
They don't care. They're cutting every 2 seconds anyway.
It's true. It's 100% true. And I'll just say this one last anecdote, and then we'll. But I was doing a moment where I had to drink water, and so I'm going and I okay. and then you get all the sounds, you
Yeah.
get all the things. And I'm wearing a bunch of mics on me, right? So there's a bunch of different ways for you to hear. But and then at one moment, this is embarrassing, but my stomach like grumbled. They heard it.
Yeah.
Oh my! It was
It's
just like a
we
little
gotta
like.
go again.
And I was like, oh no. And they were like, oh wow, we got a little stuff. And I was like, how did you, I was like, can you hear my thoughts?
Yeah,
You know, because
yeah.
it was like, it was just like so, it was just
Yeah.
like every
You're
little,
like, you're breathing through both nostrils right now.
Yes.
And in the first take, you were only breathing
yes,
through one.
closed mouth breathing versus
Yeah.
open mouth breathing.
Yeah.
Crazy,
But it's fine. But that's the frame. It's
Yeah,
like-
yeah, it's true. It's true.
So I did back-to-back in New York, Paradise Square, A Man of No Importance, and Philadelphia, Here I Come, which
Yes.
is a Brian Friel play.
And you got a Lucille Hotel Award.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
At the Irish Rep. And that year I was also, I was given an award by the Theater World Awards.
Oh, cool.
Which are typically, the Theater World Awards are for a Broadway or off-Broadway debut.
Right.
And I had already made both
Right,
of my
yeah, I was
debuts.
gonna say.
But if a person... they also give an award every year to a performance.
Oh,
And
know
they
that.
honored my performance in Philadelphia, Here I Come, which is
Wow.
like awesome. And I would like, you read the history, and it's like other winners were just, and it's like Audra McDonald, and I was like, oh my
Wow.
God. But it's a very nice thing. It's kind of like what a Lifetime Achievement Award would be at the Oscars
okay.
or something.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's not that, but it's like, this was really good.
Yeah.
And the man who is like on the board and helps run Theater World Award, who was Ethel Merman's agent, Lionel, he introduced me, and he's awesome, and he's the nicest man. As we mentioned earlier, I'm from Dublin, Ohio.
Yeah.
I had just done 3 Irish plays
Yes.
with, if I may toot my own horn, a pretty convincing Irish accent.
One in which you sang a song called "The Streets of Dublin."
One of which I sang a song called The Streets of Dublin. Lionel wrote this beautiful speech to introduce me about a young man, a young immigrant from Ireland making his way in America. And I got on stage and I was like, thanks.
That is crazy.
And so then shortly after that, I was offered another gig in New York to play an Irish person. And I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. I really can't. It was like a director I really wanted to work with. And I was like,
man.
I really can't do it.
Oh gosh, that is nuts.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nuts.
I was like, hey
People
guys.
really think that you're from. Oh my gosh.
Thanks, with my most like
Gosh,
Midwestern
That is crazy. That is so funny.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about what's next. We discussed that, off camera. We discussed that you're doing a reading this week.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you could talk about it, tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, it's a cool little 2-hander play about high school sweethearts who broke up to go to college, meeting each other again after 17 years.
Yeah.
And it's about kind of their past together and potential what ifs if they had stayed together, and
Yeah.
it's about connecting to yourself through others, and it's this beautiful, beautiful play.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, 2 people, 1 set, very, very beautiful.
Nice.
And just back to the grindstone, auditioning.
Yeah.
Looking forward to some concerts and that kind of a thing.
Nice.
I love.
And
new
you just
work.
got done doing White Christmas.
I did. Yes.
At Ogunquit.
That was very fun. It was a great time.
But you said it wasn't in Maine?
It was right. So Ogunquit's right on the border.
Ah, okay.
So Ogunquit's theater is not winterproof. And so we went just right across the border. It was like 15-minute drive.
Right, that's right. I
Yeah.
forgot that they do it in a
And
different
there's
place
this cute
during the
little
Christmas.
downtown
Nice.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and
Nice.
it's beautiful historic theater.
Oh, very cool.
It's not an historic landmark, but it is a national treasure.
Oh,
This theater.
Interesting.
I learned. Yes.
Wow.
Which is like the next step
What's it
below. The Music Hall in
Interesting.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's beautiful.
yeah.
Great acoustics in there too.
Yeah.
I love new work.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to continue to follow whatever readings, workshops, that kind of thing that happens. I have a few things that have been cooking that are not quite ready to come
Down
out
the
of the oven
pipeline
yet.
yet?
Which I'm very excited about
Oh,
that I'm not
nice.
really allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
And more than that, I always try and answer this question because I know everybody... This is a thing that we do that I think we should stop, we as actors.
Yeah.
Is we ask, how are you? And what we mean is like, how has your resume changed? And like, I think something we can all do is talk about things that aren't what we do for a living.
Yeah.
I found I'm in this like really nerdy book club study group where we read like anthropology and psychology and that just trying to understand the human condition. And it's all like actors and theater people. And that is it just like fills my soul in such a nice way. So I'm looking forward to more of that reading and research. I want to travel, but I don't know where to this year, but I think somewhere beachy.
I was going to say, I went to Hawaii for the first time this year,
gorgeous.
and albeit expensive, was one of the greatest trips of my entire life. I cannot recommend it enough. I love Hawaii.
I went as a kid and also loved it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I went to Barbados last year, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
I had so much fun there.
That's very cool.
I think maybe like Mediterranean. Something.
Yeah, that's
I don't
great.
know.
It's like the White Lotus.
Yeah,
You're
right.
like,
Yeah. I think that's it. I just need someone to book me on the White
on
Lotus.
the White Lotus. Yeah, well, they're casting.
They are, right?
I will say too is like it's talk about having hobbies and all this other stuff. It's like it's something that you learn is like there's a lot more. I remember I was actually just bringing this up. Bart Johnson, who was this is such a funny little reference. Bart Johnson, who was Coach Bolton in High School Musical, he had a podcast this fall, and it was called Get Your Head in the Game, and it was to celebrate the 20th anniversary of High School Musical, which is I think this week.
Yeah.
Okay, crazy. But anyway,
creaking old bones.
crazy. Like it's literally crazy. Anyway, so he brought on one of the guys who played Sharpay's father on to talk, and he asked him, he's like, "So what's next? What's up with you? Blah blah blah." And he says, "Well, I got this." Right now, my softball league is like kicking ass, and it's like blah blah blah, and talking about that, and he was so passionate about it. It was so cool, and he's like, and that's the thing I'm really like focused on right now. Yeah, and I was like, that's freaking awesome.
Well, and what I found is it like makes what we do professionally play again, which is the only way it can be. That's how you get cast. Is like you have fun with it, and the only way to take that pressure off for me and to like ebb the kind of stage fright stuff is to just let it be a fun extra thing, even though it is like how I earn my living, right? To like not let it have the pressure of that, to let it continue to be craft, to let it continue to be something to cherish, right? Not something to like roll your eyes at. Oh, I gotta go do my matinee. No, quit, baby. Someone would love to do that show. I have to tell you,
I feel that way. I see it in auditions all the time where it's like this, the eye roll quality of it. And I understand where it comes from in certain respects, but I think it's really important to normalize to emphasize rather the privilege that it is to get to do this. Yeah. You know what I mean? And not in like a you should be so lucky. Not even in that way, but just in like a gosh, we're all doing this for the love of it and because we literally love this thing. Like we love this thing.
What we do is, especially those of us in live theater, is we connect to other humans and like create something that wasn't there before energetically. That is the goal. It's like deeply human thing to do is to come together in community. And like, when an audience, even like watching a concert or a movie or something, when an audience sits in an auditorium together, their hearts sync up, right? Like this is something really intrinsically human that we facilitate. Yeah. That's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. It's a whole lot more than like making sure left foot's on number 8. Yeah.
Because most importantly, like it's like for me at least, it's like, it's really fun. Like I still find it to be really fun. And it's only how much you remove yourself from it. Cause I'll tell you, like I hadn't done a gig in a minute. It had been a minute since I had done like a full blown show. And then I went into the reading of this thing. And you don't realize how much you cherish a music rehearsal. How much you cherish just singing. Yeah, it's like so. There's such a joy to it. There really is such a joy to it. Yeah. So I think that emphasis is important. And then I want to ask you, you've been doing this thing that's just been fun, and I think has been fun to ask a bunch of the guests. Is give me your top 5 Mount Rushmore musicals, like your what you would deem your, and it doesn't have to be like what you think you should say. It's more about like what you prefer. Yeah, what you love. Yeah.
Oh man, Ragtime for sure. Just because of like what it means to me personally, on top of what a brilliant piece it is. Ragtime for sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. I think. Is it just if it's like if I give one to Sondheim, what's it gonna be? Oh man. I mean, Into the Woods, I also discovered very early and was very influential to me. Yeah. And like I got to do Titanic with Chip, which is so cool.
Unbelievable. That's right. I forgot. I forgot for a moment that he was in that too. Yeah. Unbelievable.
I think Oh man. Gosh, they're all so good. But either Into the Woods or Sweeney for me from In the Sun. Okay, I'll give them 2. Oh man, but then also, but Gypsy is also like perfect. And I got to see Audra's closing performance.
Oh, did you?
And it was one of those transcendent moments.
Yeah, we saw her
Talk
too.
about stopping the show.
Yeah.
Man, every number, it was a standing ovation. That
Oh,
run
is that
must have been
right?
4 hours long.
Oh my gosh.
It was amazing.
Yeah, we saw it. It was brilliant.
That performance was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I really, really love Bright Star, even though I was in it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. These are all music. We said musicals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I loved Fosse. That was something that, because I didn't grow up a dancer, I'm not a dancer. It's like one of that and like, or maybe Moving Out.
Yeah.
Like, but a dance forward show.
Paula Tharp, yeah.
Like, was one of I was able to enjoy in a different way that led me to like go see like New York City Ballet and stuff, because I don't dance, and so I can just enjoy it.
Right. Did you feel that being in Paradise Work gave you a different perspective on that too?
Yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's just really physically difficult.
Right. Right.
Oh man.
I'll take it. I think that was that.
Was that 5?
1, 2, was that 5? I think that was 5.
Man. I left
I'm not
out
sure.
all of the good ones, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, that was great. That was great.
Oh,
we'll
Dead
take
Outlaw?
that. Yeah, Dead
That was,
Outlaw.
like, so good.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good.
My favorites tend to be
yeah.
here's the kind of musical I like the best.
Yeah.
Because I like new work. I like
Yeah.
being surprised. I like, something that is, I like a chamber musical. I don't need big sets moving around. I don't need big, huge dance numbers. I
Right.
love dance, but
Yeah, of
like,
course.
if it, like something like, Come From Away or Dead Outlaw, or like something that is just like really good actors building, or Passing Strange, right?
Oh, I don't know that one. I know of it, but I don't
it's-
know. Yeah.
The show, I remember I was talking to Rebecca Naomi Jones about the show, and I was like, oh, and that scene that happened in a bus, and she was like, there was no bus. And I was like, no, there was a bus. And it was my imagination. It's just like a show that allows actors to like build a world around them that like that sweeps you away, that turns your imagination on.
Right.
That's what I love.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
Yeah, that's awesome. Were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, my first thought, right when you said that, was Assassins.
Assassins. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
3 for Sondheim.
Yeah, right. And then another tradition that we have on the pod is we always manifest a dream guest. So, and we've been lucky enough to have 4 dream guests on, which is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, Mary was one, Mary Testa was one, Jerry Zaks was another, Richard Ridge was one, and Douglas Lyons. Those are our 4.
God.
Those are the 4 that we've acquired so far.
Well, I mean, John Doyle for sure.
Oh yeah,
John Doyle for sure.
Yeah,
Anything he talks about ever, I want to hear.
I love that.
I don't know. Do you have like a section of the entertainment industry that you're like really curious about?
I mean, we're loving our theater stuff. We're about down to anything. I mean, I was looking into stunt coordinators. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Like, yeah.
Oh man, it's a father and son duo. They're so good. I think they did Pirates of Penzance. We were talking earlier about in musical theater, like if the basket's heavy. And what a difference. This fighting in the Pirates of Penzance revival
get to see it.
was so good.
Was it?
Yes.
I didn't get to see it.
And I was like, oh, that.
Yeah. What are their names? I
Can't remember.
Can you look it up? Look it up for me, Chris.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
And they choreographed it?
Yeah, fight choreography. It's a father and son duo.
Look it up. Fight choreographers of Pirates of Penzance. That's funny. Because I know Warren directed it and choreographed it.
I think they did Pirates of Penzance. I'll try and figure out who I'm talking about and send it to you. They're awesome.
Or even like the guys.
I worked with them shortly on a like workshop or something, and they were awesome. I would be really interested in like, I don't know, maybe someone from Drew Jampson or something like that.
Oh,
like
yeah.
hearing about honoring the legacy of the theaters. Or like how do you pick what shows come in?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. I don't have a single person in mind.
Sure, yeah.
I would also be really curious about like a house manager of a theater or someone who's been at the St. James forever.
Yeah.
Like,
I would love that. That's awesome.
Jen Tepper, as a Broadway historian.
I was gonna say,
she's a great hang too.
Yeah, I've thought about her, and then when you mentioned her, I was like, oh, actually,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Did you find it?
Rick Sordelet?
Oh yeah, sort of like, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They do.
We'll take it.
I wish I could like put you in touch. I don't
No,
know.
no,
like
but I'll take it.
I know their work, and it's
Okay,
really good.
great. I'll take it. I love that. And lastly, we started the podcast by asking you who your I Want to Be Like You when you were a kid was, and we want to ask you now, who's your I Want to Be Like You now?
Oh man, I mean,
it could be
it's
anyone.
still Stokes, man. He's the best.
Incredible.
He's the best.
I love that. Yeah, he certainly is the best. That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing
Thank
this.
you.
This has been a blast.
Yeah.
AJ Shively. Thank you. Thanks for
you.
chatting with us. I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes is produced by Elbi and Christian Cespedes. Special thanks to Angelina Cespedes, Vincenzo Salvatore Cakes, and of course, AJ Shively.